Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Friday, July 26th. We are in the midst of NFL training camp for the Detroit Lions. We have a lot to get to today. It is a Friday. And Coach Booner continues his on the channel. So please, after the show, go check out Booner.
Here we go, boys.
The real Friday Night Lights, Boone. That's what it is.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Campbell.
25 will be live streamed here on Crunch Time Sports. But, fellas, how we feeling on a Friday? We fired up?
Great Friday, fellas. I don't know about you. Had a real nice, easy day. Weather was beautiful. Just good vibes. I've been hearing some things out of training camp that maybe don't fit my narrative, but do bring a new opportunity for the Lions as far as in the kicking department, and some things about the player we mentioned with Matty Betts. So I'm excited to hear about those things. Was a little busy today, so I didn't get to tap in too much. So I'll be reacting to it live with a lot of people in the chat, so I'm excited.
Narratives narratives are starting to fall apart for people. What did I say a couple weeks back? Can't wait till boys. I love the boys, but when narratives start to fall apart, that's when I start to get excited.
No, nothing's falling apart.
I love my narrative stays the same.
With this, what we do, which we talk sports, we react, we do 5 shows a week. Let's not get too wrapped up.
I get wrapped up. You guys we've done a show for a half a year now together. You guys know how I get. I get really wrapped up.
Well, I know one narrative specifically that no question at this point is dead, and that is it's the Michael Badgley could still kick this year for the Detroit Lions. That is officially off the table. He did not kick yesterday. Remember, we talked about it, and I said, I didn't hear anything about Michael Badgley. Well, idiot Jeff, he was injured, and he tore his hamstring. So that's why I didn't hear anything. He wasn't out there.
Ooh.
Jake Bates took the reps, and it was confirmed, placed on IR, is Michael Badgley. He's out for the entire 2024 season, according to Dan Campbell. The Lions, as of right now, are looking for more competition to bring in for Mr. Jake Bates. But at this point in time, no Michael Badgley. He is out for the season, which is tough.
I mean, I'm going to be honest too. I don't like you. You don't want to see anyone get hurt, especially season ending where you have to go through that. And obviously, I don't know the situation with his contract and whatever's going to happen with that, but it's a tough situation. I would have rather had Michael Badgley on the field. A lot of people might think, because I was big on Jake Bates, that I want Michael. I don't want anything like that to happen. You want. When you're in training camp, you want competition. It's the same thing like a guy behind, Jameson Williams or Khalif Raymond, or a guy in the corner room. You want 4, 5, 6 guys in there competing for that spot. Like, you want the best players competing for these spots. Like, I wanted Michael Badgley to be there making cakes and kicking the ball with Jake Bates, because it's best man wins that competition. So it is kind of disappointing to see that. It kind of sucks, but they've been looking at a lot of other players, a bunch of different UFL guys, a bunch of different people. So I'm excited to see who they bring in to compete. But it is brutal. Like it's when I heard that, I had my source last night text me, hey, just so you guys know, Badgley wasn't kicking last night, and I didn't want to. You don't want to share too much and then today you hear that news. I woke up this morning to that news, which is pretty shocking. So.
Yeah, obviously doesn't fit my Michael Badgley. Will start off as a kicker for this team, but hey, things happen. Obviously, I don't think any of us saw this injury coming on, but it's now Jake Bates' spot to lose for sure. It's still, again, it's not that I don't have any confidence in Jake Bates, because to your guys' points, I agree. He has a monster leg, but my stance will still remain the same. I just got to see it first. If Jake Bates goes out there in the first 2 weeks and he's just drilling them, perfect. But I'm just, me personally, with how scarce kickers can be, as far as they look really good, and then when the lights are on, they're a completely different type of athlete. That's where I just need to see it first, because I went back to it yesterday. It's it's not like you're a running back, because situation around you, if you have a good quarterback, it's going to help you as a wide receiver. Nothing really outside of if the guy holding the ball or you have a guy that misses a block is affecting kicker outside of the kicker. So that's why I just think it's a little bit different when you're trying to project it. As far as bringing a guy in, I really do prefer that they bring a guy that is Badgley level, that's been around a couple of teams that can just fill in like a security blanket. Let's say Jake Bates, he does struggle, and you need a guy that's gone out there and done it before, compared to a guy that's in the UFL that hasn't done it before. I think they should try to bring in a sure thing if they can, but at the end of the day, whoever they bring out there week 1, you got to support him, hope he succeeds, and I think that Jake Bates has all the talent too. I just got to see it first.
I would argue weather be another factor, but the Lions play indoors for
three games outdoors all year. You're in a good spot with that.
to Lucas's point, he just wants to see more of it, which I don't hate that take. It's why they're bringing in competition, and he even addressed the putting Jake Bates in pressure situations during training camp, which it's not the same as being at Ford Field. I understand that, but situational kicks, like he's going to get tested, and Michael Badgley out the entire season. You don't wish injury, like you said, Boone, on anybody, but Jake Bates, he's going to have some competition. I think he'll win it. I think he'll be the starting kicker this year and for the entirety of the year. We shall see.
I hate the. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Something into my head and triggered me. I just hate. Like I read something on my notes here. Just the crowd of people who are like, hey, like Badgley was the guy. Like it was him or no one else. Like that was the thing that really kind of grinded my gears was Michael Badgley made a kick with the Rams game that put you up above to win the game. And there were a lot of other opportunities to win the game, but his kick ended up being the game winner. And I just hate the fact that people are like, well, he made a 50-yard kick in the biggest game of your franchise history. He made the biggest kick in franchise history. Like, yeah, he did. That doesn't mean he's a lifetime contract type of guy. Like that's the only thing I hated about this conversation. Even when he got hurt today, there's conversations going on that it's like, no, Badgley was the guy. He was the guy all along. Like he needs to be the guy. Like, no, there was people last year during the draft asking for people to draft Jake Moody when you had Michael Badgley and James and Riley Patterson in the building. Like, there's always upgrades to positions until you get the best in the league. It's going to be like that at every position group. So like people, if they're like mad that Bates is just getting like, yeah, bring the competition in with Bates, put some pressure on him. He needs it. Dan knows it. They all know it. Let him earn the job. But I think like kind of, and Klotz, it's not at you, but it's just like, it's the same guys that haven't played it, like rookies that haven't played in the NFL yet. Like they haven't, like some guys have, like Terrion's played this in Alabama. Like some of these guys have played in big games. Again, Jake Bates has played at Arkansas. Like he's played and he's seen the atmospheres. It's not like he's just never been around a football atmosphere, whether he's kicked or not, or he was place kicking or he was kicking off on field goals or punting. Like all these guys have had it. Now it's different, like a Terrion or a Sione Vaki. Like all these guys have to come in and still prove themselves. It's the same thing with Jake Bates. He's a rookie in the NFL now, technically. Like that's what it's going to have to be. So I think he's going to be just fine. Like you see rookies all the time come in and produce. You saw Sam Laporta last year. You saw Brian Branch last year. Like these guys did it on a big stage last year in the NFC Championship game in the playoffs. So I'm not going to sit here like, yeah, you would love to see it in the playoffs. I'm not going to be like, no, he's got the talent to do it. What's the difference between him and rookies coming in? There's no difference. It just people are trying to put a little like a dark cloud over him because I don't know why. It's weird to me.
Yeah, I mean it happens. It's kind of like you bring up like Jake Moody. Jake Moody struggled for a little bit there, but then he started getting along, and he was a rookie. But he kicked at Michigan, different. Jake Bates didn't kick in college, but he kicked in the UFL. Not as many fans in there. Shout out to the UFL, by the way. The Michigan Panthers had a lot of fun when we went to the game, but it's not the same. We can all agree there. He spoke to Gina Trotman of WXYZ. In Detroit. And I want to play this. It's the first time you really hear Jake Bates speak. So let's listen to what he had to say when speaking to the media today. Let's check this out.
I mean, I don't know if there's ever like a time. It was just always kind of a hope. And, obviously I didn't get all that attention out of college, but I never gave up. It's just I'm super happy that I never gave up, obviously, seeing it from here, but it wasn't always like that. It didn't always feel like that. But I think good things come to those who work hard, and what's done in the dark is going to come to light. And so, I mean, I put a lot of faith in the Lord, and he's been so good to me. Yeah, I think I'm a lot more mature. I think I know a little bit of what to expect as far as, what's expected of me, the day-to-day, the long days, stuff like that. I'm not going in so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed like I did, with them. And I'm super grateful for that opportunity to kind of, show me the ropes for the first time. And John Weeks, Cameron Johnson, and Kaimi Fairburn were super awesome to me, bringing me along. But yeah, I feel a lot more mature and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and him discussing that basically it's not his first NFL training camp. He was with the Houston Texans. He participated in training camp. And now this is his second traiing camp. I believe it's his second, but more than one. He's been in the NFL before, didn't play in the regular season, but here he is back with the Detroit Lions. So shout out to Gina Trotman for that.
Do you guys hear the jug machine in the back? Just Amon-Ra St. Brown, just absolutely good. Just after practice, you can just hear it like every 2 seconds. You hear the jugs machine just going off. That has to be saying.
Yeah, it's like the Batman symbol for Amon-Ra. Like just he's anywhere near a jugs machine. He's an absolute.
If you turn on any interview after practice, I've heard it the last 2 or 3 days. Every single interview that I've seen after practice, that's like not over in their section. It's just like on the field. You hear it like the first one I listened to, I was like, "What is that noise?" And then I listened to like 2 or 3 or 4 more interviews, and then I kept hearing. I'm like, "Oh, that's St. Brown on the jugs machine." Every single video.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you heard him. We're gonna get to Jack Campbell. And Tua Tagovailoa just signed a contract extension. Finally, they got that done. I see John's question. So does everyone feel much better about Goff's contract now that guys like Tua, Love, and Lawrence are making the same? I actually do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you saw it coming. You know what I mean? Like you knew that Goff, it might seem like a little steep right now, but as the time goes on, like guys like Tua are going to sign and they're going to be asking for Goff money because I'm sure they view themselves in that same tier, if not better. And Tua is the best quarterback that Miami's had and probably in the last 10, 15 years, as outrageous that might seem to sound. They were having Matt Moore and Ryan Tannehill. And for me personally, I don't know if I'm re-signing Tua for 4 years, but the Dolphins, I don't really think they had an option at this point, given the fact that they're going in this year. You're going to only have Tyreek Hill for so much longer, and I think that really controls their window offensively. So they got to give a guy that he has chemistry to, and you're not going to get somebody better right now than Tua, in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, and Tua Klotz, like to that point, like I think I saw something that he's like that was the highest 4-year contract that's in NFL history, because typically a lot of these quarterbacks they do get 5 years. So I do think they were like that might have been part of the negotiation, whereas they were looking at it like, hey, we don't want to even do 5 with you. Like we want to keep it as short as possible. And you probably had to do long term in my eyes. And it's weird because like he's a guy that like one more big hit in the NFL and his career could be over. Like any big hit in the NFL, his career is going to be over. And he's like, I don't know what the guaranteed money was, but I'm sure it was pretty high because Goff's is pretty high. Trevor Lawrence's is pretty high. All these guys have high guaranteed money. But it's interesting to me too. Like, I don't know if you guys remember earlier in the week, Jordan Love was supposed to have the deal done before Tua. And like everyone's like, oh, Jordan Love's deal is basically done. Like he'll be on the field in no time. And then Tua was the one that was taking a while. But Tua was at practice. I don't even think he was skipping out of practice. From what I've heard. And Jordan Love hasn't even gotten done yet. Like week 1 through training camp, and no one's heard of the Jordan Love situation. I don't get how that one's not done and the Tua one's gotten done already. Like I don't like maybe he was waiting to see, but Tua only signed for with 100,000 or more than Jared Goff.
So I have the numbers. So Tua signed a 4-year, $212.4 million deal. Jared's is 4-year, $212. So we got about 400,000 more, but the guaranteed money is what I look at. Tua got 167 million guaranteed. Goff got 170.
A little bit more.
So
3 million.
3 million less than Jared.
Yeah.
So, which is fair. I mean, he's not Jared Goff. I mean, he hasn't played that well. So I get this. So in terms of negotiations, it's not like more total, like a little bit total money, but then there's probably incentives and whatever it is, however it's shaped. But guaranteed money, Goff's got a couple $1 million more. Like that's about right. But Jordan Love's going to ask. I mean, if you're Jordan Love, you want 175 maybe. I mean, 172, 173. You want more guaranteed than Goff. I would assume he's younger. Like Tua has not played at the level Jordan Love just played at. You know what I mean? We know what Tua is. Like he's not as good as Jordan Love. That's safe to say.
It makes you feel like you got to steal in Detroit, like Brad got to steal, because Brad got the deal done instantly. He was one of the first ones to get the deal done. He got it at a good price, and you probably, in my opinion, like that's the quarterback. Like I know Jordan Love won a playoff game, but Jared Goff's been to Super Bowls now. He's been to NFC Championship games. Like he's been very, very proven, and he's been proven like, hey, if you put guys around him, you're going to win football games. And like he has a track record of, 7 years now. Where Tua, he's been a couple years with Mike McDaniels now, and Jordan Love's been 10 games. So like you're paying those guys that much. Goff's got the cheapest contract out of them with the most experience. Probably like he's 7 years in. He has probably the highest IQ out of those guys. Like he could probably lead the team better, in my opinion. So I think they got the steal. And more guys are going to get signed too in the next couple months and then year.
Yeah, it's just gonna look better as days go on. I don't really have too much to say outside of what you guys already hit on.
Yeah, and by the way, this comment was 313. I don't know about that. Love not better than Tua. That's wild.
Jordan Love is not. But I mean, if you gotta wait,
Jordan
and see
Love
it,
every day.
fine. Yeah, but oof.
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask you, Weezy D. Do you think Tua's better than Goff? I would say no. Do you think so? If you're saying Tua is better than Love, then I guess Tua and Jared are kind of similar. I would disagree personally. I mean, at least with Tua, with the situation he has, I mean, they can't win anywhere below 70 degrees. I think Jared's better. They're both not mobile guys, but I would rather have Jared Goff than Tua, and I would rather have Jordan Love than Tua. So I think Jordan Love and Goff you can have an argument for. I don't think you can have that same argument with Tua and everyone else. That's just me. And I know Tua he's shown he can win games, but come on. I mean, Tua's arm, it's not impressive compared to Jordan Love. Or even I think Goff's arm, Goff doesn't have this, Josh Allen or whoever you want to compare to, but Goff's better. I mean, he just is, in my opinion, and he's been better.
Is it weird to you guys though that Jordan Love he's just still sitting there not practicing and the contract's not done?
I mean, honestly, not really, because I think a lot of guys, especially when you look how his situation's kind of unique, I think people are going to try to do what Lamar did when he got paid and he kind of bet on himself for that year, and it was a little risky, but at the end of the day, he balled out that season and got a handful of cash. And so I think Jordan Love, he bets on himself, and they're like, no, we're putting this till the end of the season. What are the Packers going to do? Not just be like, okay, you're not a quarterback. No, they're going to play him. They have no choice. They want to go win a Super Bowl. And if Jordan Love balls out, he's going to be raking in a hell of a lot more money than he would next offseason compared to this one.
Yeah, that's what I see.
The longer it doesn't get signed, it's better for Jordan Love and worse for the Packers. So honestly, as Lions fans, we should hope that man just keeps holding out. I think it's wild if he's not in camp, but if he's in camp and just not getting anything signed, that's good for the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he'll get signed soon. I'm assuming. I mean, they're not going to play too much with this. I would think. I mean, you want to get this contract done, but seems like Jordan Love is pretty serious about getting it done, and rightfully so, to be honest. I mean, he played well above what he was getting paid last year, like well above.
I see this tweet here that from Jeremy Fowler over at ESPN, and he said the 2020 draft has produced $1 billion in quarterback contracts and counting. Joe Burrow, 5 years, 275. Tua, 4 years, 212. Justin Herbert, 5 and 262. Jalen Hurts, 5 and 255. And then Jordan Love is probably going to get over 270, 280.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy from one draft class. Like that's absurd. Like I don't think that's crazy. They all are over like 250 or around the 200 to 250.
Wild money.
Yeah,
I mean,
let me get that. Hey, crunch time to the moon.
Yeah, let me hold the dollar. It's only going to continue to go up.
You guys looking to invest?
I mean, seriously. My son will be playing quarterback. I don't know if he'll be 6'5", but we'll figure it out. Maybe Bryce Young, but better.
Vinny Iafrate. Vinny Enriquez Iafrate.
Drew Brees. That's what we're gonna work on.
Yeah, just that's any quarterback that's under 6 foot apparently nowadays just gets comped to Drew Brees.
Clayton Tune. Yeah, Clayton Tune. Come on, Clayton Tune.
Yeah, Clayton Tune. Yeah, he's not taking hits, making money.
Being
taking
smart.
Kyler's starting job, throwing to Marv here pretty soon.
How about that? What a career to have.
Kyler Murray, streams only said, yeah, you know what? It's fine. That's fair.
What about a Baker?
I'm not the athlete Kyler Murray is, though. So I don't know about my son.
I'm a Baker fan. I think Baker's underrated. I'm just going to throw that out there. Shout out Jeff Olson.
Baker's not a bad one.
I'm a Baker fan.
Baker's perfectly rated. Yeah. He's a middle of the pack quarterback.
No, I think
some people love him. Some people hate him.
I like him.
I think he's a little better than what people think. I think he's very underrated. The Browns did him very dirty. I agree
with that.
He's grown a lot. Baker. Remember like early Baker at Oklahoma, like that.
I would put Baker. I'd put Baker a little bit above mid. Like I think he can go. He'll win you football games. If you have a quarterback that can win you games, that's mid to me is just like, hey, you can win us 7 games. Here we go. Mid or like Baker went out there and won. What were they? 10 or 11 wins and went to the playoffs. Like won a playoff, beat the Eagles, dominated the Eagles.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know one thing. My son will not replicate what Jack Campbell has done. He can't be 6'5". He's not gonna be 6'5", 260. Can't move like that. He's not gonna have that type of athleticism. But Jack Campbell
already put a ceiling on his son.
Hey, it's just true. I'm 6 foot. I mean,
man, and his ceilings.
I'm 6 foot.
But
maybe
he works hard.
6'5". Maybe. You know what? Maybe. But Jack Campbell spoke to the media. You know what? Let the man cook a little bit. He was talking about the defense. Let's hear what he had to say. and we'll give our thoughts on that. So here's Jack Campbell speaking about the Detroit Lions defense this year and potentially them being top 10 and what he's kind of focused on as a player. But let's hear from the man himself.
Is there just a higher confidence level? What is that?
I just feel like ever since starting back in spring OTAs, we've been really just working on just the mentality of how we approach everything. And I feel like every day we're just taking steps in the right direction. Obviously, we have a long ways to go. But, I mean, everyone talks about oh, I want to be a top 10 defense. I mean, everyone out here on the defensive side, we're going to be the best defense in the NFL, because I feel like if you ever set goals that I feel like are attainable, like we could very well be a top 10 defense, but we just have to come out here and do the right things every day. But why not be the best defense in the NFL if we all want to get to where we're going to get? So I just feel like that's been the focus right now, and I just feel like that's a mentality that's been adopted by everyone in the locker room. So.
What do you think you're more comfortable, man? Last week, you was humble. You're still a humble guy, I know.
Yeah.
It seems like you found your, how was your rookie season? And then just your comfortability coming in.
No, I mean, rookie year was great. I learned a lot about just football in general, but about myself. I mean, it was a great year, great experience. I mean, I was a rookie. I got to go to the NFC Championship, get playoff experience. I'm grateful for that. But, I mean, I'm just so thankful to be around a great locker room, because I couldn't do it without everyone in the locker room, but especially the linebacker room. And now looking forward to next season, man, we're just excited to go let it rip. And I feel like it's not only a mentality that I adopted, but everyone just let it rip. Mistakes are going to happen, and just play fast.
But you are, I mean,
Yeah, Boone, that's how you're feeling, Boone?
Hey,
I want to flip the desk, run through a wall. I love Jack.
Best defense in the NFL, that's their goal. And I think that's every defense that has talent's goal. I don't think that's a bad thing. That's a great thing to have. You're not going to be like, all right, boys, let's be a top 10 defense this year.
Yeah.
Let's be a top 15 defense. Let's just crack the front half of the NFL.
To be honest, I think I think the defenses look at, when I was at coaching college basketball, we and Klotz, you might be able to actually talk about this when you were at Tiffin. You set your goals. Obviously, you want to win the conference. You want to go to an Elite Eight. You want to do this. You want to hit that. You have to have smaller goals to be able to make it go obtainable. Look at it and be like, this is obtainable. How do we get there? We want to, lead the conference in steals. What does that mean? We have to do. We have to play elite defense. We want to be top 10 in this category. We want to be top 5 in this category. We want to be shooting top 3 in the conference at 3-point percentage. All right, we got to get in if we're lower, we got to get in the gym and work on that. So Jeff, I think they look at it and they go hey, we know last year we were a top 3 run defense. All right, what do we need to do in the secondary? What do we need to work on to become a top 10, pass defense to make us a top 5 defense? I think they look at all these things, and as they get going, they're like, no, this is our goal for the year. By the end of the year, we had goals. We just had random goals even when I coached. We want to be undefeated when we play at home. We don't want to lose a game at home. If we do that, that sets us up for home court advantage. Different things like that. And I think they go in their book. I'm sure it says top 10 defense. They want to be a top 10 defense, and they want to put that product on the field. I guarantee you they have that.
No, we're not arguing it whether they have goals. I'm not arguing that. You just said when you would say as a coach, we don't want to lose a game at home. You're not going to say, let's lose 3 games this year at home. Only 3.
No, but you look at it and you set realistic
they have
goals.
This mindset. We want to be the best defense in the league. Let's say you end up 7th. You're like, hey, we try, I love it. I'm not saying I'm not arguing goals or anything like that. I bet they do. You should have that confidence because, we had that manifest conversation. What was it, this week or last week?
On Monday, I believe. Monday.
The manifest.
Jeff doesn't know how to manifest things.
No, I think with manifesting that term, you have to put in the work. And these guys are obviously putting in the work. So, yeah, you want to say that? Go ahead. I love it. I love that. I love that Jack Campbell came out right to the media and said, we want to be the best defense in the NFL. He could have kept that. Oh, we want to be improved. And, he's like, F it. We want to be the best defense in the league. I love it. Sometimes you got to be a little insane, to have that type of confidence. It's good.
Especially if you're playing in the NFL. I think you're probably already a little bit insane to do that. But Booner, I agree with you as far as coaches. They definitely make those goals. How do we get to be the top defense in the NFL? But to Jeff's point, Dan Campbell ain't having anything up there where it's we're going to be a top 7 defense in the NFL. He's like, no, we're biting kneecaps. We are going to be the most physical, dominant unit in the NFL. We're going to be the best defense in the NFL. Obviously, I don't think the Lions are going to be that. They can make a little run for it. I think they could be outside maybe the top 5, I think, at their ceiling. but I still do think there's some teams that both personnel and coaching wise, and it's not a knock against AG, but I think if you just look at some of the defensive coordinators around the NFL who have been doing it for a while, I think they have a little bit of advantage. But this defense, we're talking about a team, especially against the pass, was just bottom of the barrel. So if they get inside the top 15, which I think is their floor, this team is going to take a huge step defensively, and you're going to see it on the box score as well. So the Lions, goal top defense in the NFL, I love it, but I don't think they'll get there, but they're going to be damn good, I think.
I think one of the biggest things is like now that they have the talent on defense and with the way AG can coach, I think like you've seen in this 3 years progression with the Detroit Lions that, you know, year one, they weren't coming out here saying, hey, we're going to go to the playoffs, win a playoff game. Like they weren't going out on the media saying that. They were like, we need to start here. We need to, you know, just chip away. We need to get better players. We need to do this. I think now you're in year 3. Like last year, you didn't hear the defense come out and say, hey, we're going to be a top 10 defense. Like none of them put that out there. Now this year, I think that's where you can actually say, hey, this actually is going to be a top 10 defense because they have the talent. And 2, they're out in the media and they're addressing it. Jack Campbell to go out like a year ago, Jack Campbell, or a year ago, you know, Anzalone, none of those guys are coming out, and Derek Barnes, they're not going to go in media and say, hey, we want to be the best defense in the NFL. Like, no, you don't put yourselves in those positions when you know you're working and you're gradually getting to something. They're at the point now, and you could tell in training camp that they're starting to get, as Dan Campbell and all of them say, that their swagger and everything's coming with it, that they're starting to kind of change a little bit, this defense, and that confidence is starting to leak in a little bit. And they know, like, hey, we see what we have on this field. Now, this can be a top 10 defense. Or as Jack said, like, this is going to be a top 10 defense, and we're going to compete for the best defense in the NFL. And, like, now that they're able to, like, you've seen this Lions organization put things out there the last 3 years. They've made things happen. When they say stuff, like, in this regime, those things happen. So, like, I'm not shocked, guys. Like, if it comes out and they end up kind of putting that, like, they put that out in the air. Like I'm starting to fall a little bit more that they're going to end up being a top 10 defense. Like listen to Jack Campbell talk. This guy, like this guy in the interview today, literally was like, they asked him like, hey, people are saying you're going to take a massive jump forward. He was like, I really don't care. Like they're like, are you going to get 100 tackles? I really don't care. He was like, I just want to win football games and have the best defense. If that means I get 0 tackles or 1 tackle, that like when you have guys like that on your team who are just absolutely insane, to your point, Clodsy, they're like, no one's going to stop you. Like this dude's going to run through walls and do everything he can do to win football games. Like that's where I think this defense is starting to take a turn. Jack Campbell's going to have a big year.
Hey,
big year.
Hey, Lucas, just close your eyes.
Here we're going down this narrative again where I don't believe
in
Jack Campbell.
No. Your take is Anzalone will still be the best linebacker. Let's make that very clear. I think Jack Campbell by the end of the year, you're going to say, oh, is this guy Jack Campbell year 2? Who is this guy?
Happy. I think you
would be happy, but do you think it's going to happen? You know, like, Luke, that's what I need to know.
My thing is like, why can that not happen and Anzalone also be the best linebacker on this team? Like that's where I get confused, where it's like, in order for Jack Campbell to take that huge step, Alex Anzalone cannot get any better. And that's where I'm
can. It'll be like this. They both
can I bring up
a little bit higher.
But
like,
can I give an example?
That's where we disagree.
Can I give an example that Klotzy's on the opposite side? Can I just give an example?
Yeah, let's hear.
Think about a guy like David Montgomery, where he's a really good back. He's a very, very good back in the league.
You don't like this one.
But listen, and Jeff, I think you're going to agree with me here. He's only gotten better in his career. Every single year, boom, boom, boom. Comes to Detroit, big jump, boom. Even sharing the backfield, and obviously he has the offensive line to do so. But a guy comes in named Jahmyr Gibbs, rookie year, didn't really pass him in rushing yards, but you're like, oh, this guy's got all the talent. He's about to take the biggest step that we've seen out of a running back, and this man's going to be a top 5 running back next year. Alex Anzalone, every year, boom, boom. He's been bad. He was bad in Detroit for a little bit, but he's taken a step. Now, last year, like, oh, this guy really took a step. Like, he could have been a Pro Bowler. D-Mont, over 1,000 yards, 10, 11 touchdowns, could have been a Pro Bowler. He was there. But then you got this guy, this kid from Iowa,
Yeah.
This, I don't know, Cedar Falls,
Dog.
Cedar Rapids, whatever it is, an absolute dog who's got a ceiling of a
Mm-hmm.
Luke Kuechly, and you're like, hey, this could be an all-pro linebacker. And boom, boom. You see what I'm saying here? Like, it's a
The
similar
only problem,
example.
I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out.
Let me
Let me give out reinforcements real quick.
No.
Reinforcements.
No. Go ahead, Lucas.
I was like, let's reinforce.
This is the difference. So, and it's a fair take because I do also think about it like that. But okay, David Montgomery. How often are him and Jameer going to be on the field at the same time? And when they are
this year, probably more than usual.
If Jameer's on the field and David's on the field, one of them aren't getting the rock.
I don't
Jack
like
Campbell and Alex Anzalone are going to be on the field pretty much all the time. And honestly, in my opinion, especially with Aaron Glenn, how he's played with Alex Anzalone, coached him since his days in New Orleans, they're going to take Jack Campbell off the field before Alex Anzalone. In my opinion, could I be wrong? Yes, but in my opinion, that's how I see the season playing out. And Alex Anzalone, again, he's the guy that calls the shots for this defense, and I think that has a lot of weight, especially when he
calls it in.
Who's the one making the calls, adjusting the defensive line, adjusting the secondary?
Okay, that's fair.
Over.
Guess what? That means Jack Campbell has one less thing to worry about besides see ball, get ball, see ball, get ball. And guess who has the most talent?
Yes,
who's
Booner,
faster?
absolutely.
Who's quicker? And who's stronger? Jack Campbell. If they're both going at one guy for the ball, guess who's gonna get there first?
I'm not denying that Jack Campbell is not the more talented player. That is the last thing that I'm doing. I'll give that argument to you 10 times out of 10. All I'm saying is Alex Anzalone played at a very high level last year. I think he was probably a top 6 to 7 linebacker in the NFL last year. I really do. Not the seasons prior, but last year, absolutely. And I think that this is going to be one of his last runs at a Super Bowl because I think I don't see him, especially with he's dealing with a little bit more injuries now than he was prior to his career. I don't really see him going anywhere else. I think he's going to retire Detroit Lion, and I could see that being either this year or next year. But I think this year he's just going balls to the wall because he knows, like Alex Anzalone knows that this is going to be Jack Campbell's linebacker room. But that doesn't mean he's just going to go, here, Jack, it's your linebacker room now. Like this is Alex Anzalone's linebacker room. And Jack will overtake him at some time. But I do think that Anzo takes another step. Doesn't have to be major. But I do think that Jack Campbell jumps it and makes it close. But at the end of the day, I still think that Alex Anzalone, the better linebacker this year. Jack Campbell, huge jump, really good linebacker this year.
And Boone, I'm backing you up right now.
I don't know if I like that take.
No, honestly, we're not too far off. Like Luke, we all agree Jack Campbell's going to take a jump, a big jump. Yeah. Lucas is saying that Anzalone will just still be the best on the team. It won't be like this drastic difference. It'll just be like he's giving the edge to Anzalone. We're giving the edge to Jack Campbell. I liked your example, Boone. Here's my advice, though. Jahmyr Gibbs, probably closer of a gap to Montgomery than Anzalone and Jack last year. Jack,
that's fair, but it was an
that's
example.
The other thing. You have to really take a jump, but we believe you will, Boone.
It was more so just like, hey, look, this isn't like an uncommon thing. We have literally a similar situation going on the other side of the ball. I just don't. I get where you're coming from, Klotzy, because
Go ahead, my bad.
I would just say I had Anzo last year as one of my top. I had him, I think, as one of the top 5 guys, most impactful Detroit Lions when we did that list back in December. I think I had Anzo on that list because I thought he makes such a big impact and like what he does. So like I'm with you on that, and I think he stays on the field. I just think it like even if Anzo takes a jump, I'm just in the camp to where I think Jack Campbell has that much talent and that mindset to where he's just like, Anzo's not going to be able to do anything. And even the next year, Anzo will still have the green dot. But like the fact that Dan Campbell and Brad or an AG are moving, Jack because of how good he is and saying we're going to have to move Derek Barnes out of there. We have to get Jack Campbell in his rightful spot. And they've already made comments about how Jack Campbell's the future green dot. Jack Campbell's the future in that position. Like those comments have already been made, and he's only going into year 2. Like I just think it's inevitable, and I think we should all want it to happen this year. Like I think like if that happens, that means that like if he takes a jump over Anzo, I think Anzo's going to be better than last year. That means Jack Campbell made an insanely high jump, like into the top 10 as a linebacker. All those top 10 lists for linebackers, Alex Anzalone wasn't on one of them. He wasn't honorable mention. He wasn't receiving votes, nothing, which maybe he should have, but he wasn't. Jack Campbell can make that jump this year, and he'll be in the top 10, in my opinion, over honorable mention and receiving votes. Like he'll get into the top 10. Like that's where I think we need to have happen.
Yeah, we would all agree two good linebackers, one great, another one really good, whatever it is a great thing. It's not even putting one down to bring up the other.
Talking about Derek Barnes?
Now, well, Derek Barnes,
Rodrigo,
he was
Germ.
getting. Hey, I think him, Shane Zylstra, and Brock Wright, defense, offense, they were getting a little scrappy today. Yeah, I think Derek Barnes and Brock Wright were shoving, getting a little chippy out there because, CJ GJ. It seemed like last year he was kind of the guy, like he was bringing the juice. The juice is here. People were. I mean, I don't know if it wasn't like a bunch of fights or anything, but Derek Barnes, I did see that him and Brock Wright, a little shoving match going on, had to be separated. Hey.
Love that.
They're
Getting active already off injury.
I don't know if Zylstra was the one. I think Brock jumped in for him, but yeah, hey, Zylstra was involved somehow. I know that. But hey, Jared Goff also spoke. Guys, Jared Goff insinuated, all right, would that be the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
he just flat out said it. He said, I feel like I'm entering my prime, which honestly is pretty. Let's hear what he had to say, and we'll give our thoughts on kind of what this season could look like. But here's Jared Goff. This is per Eric Woodyard of ESPN. Woodyard. I think I'm messing his name up, but he's great. Love his.
Yeah, we need to get him on. I was actually thinking that the other day. I would love to speak with him.
Yeah, he's elite. But here's the video he took today of Jared Goff speaking.
Jared, I know it's early, but just your swagger about yourself and just how you playing and commanding the offense, man. You look really, really comfortable, probably more than I've seen you the last 3 training camps. Just how do you feel entering this season, man? You signed a big contract, you get married, a lot of things change. You feel like you're entering your prime at this point. How do you feel entering this training camp?
Yeah, I think I may have said that a year or two ago. I feel like I was entering my prime and probably hopefully smack dab in the middle of it now. But yeah, I feel good and feel confident in the guys around me, and they feel confident in me, and it's a good place to be.
We asked you the question so many times last year about, hey, this is the first time the Lions have done this since this year.
Yeah.
You guys have, I think you rolled your eyes at it because you kept saying it was about this year's team. You've accomplished so much now. What is it like entering a camp where it really is only about this year's team?
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, we don't answer those questions anymore of trying to snap any streaks or anything like that. So it does feel good, but we've got bigger goals, and we're excited to try to attain those.
I swear, man, Jared is a pro at just professional answers. Like he's just
PR'd up.
Yeah, PR'd up, and I guess that's partial. That's just part playing quarterback. I guess you're gonna have to ask everything, answer everything similarly, which he does. But hey, entering his prime, he said it before. He's playing at a top 5. No, I'd say higher. It's probably top 3 in the NFC, top 2. I would say top 2. Others say top 3, whatever. Okay, he's one of the best in the conference, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, I believe, at least around there, arguably, whatever. Dude's playing at a high level. Well, how much better can he get in your guys' eyes? Because I do think, especially you see it more in today's NFL, with how defenses, or at least defensive rules, change. It benefits the offense, and it allows guys to play longer in their career. And not just that, but the quarterback position, quarterbacks aren't getting absolutely destroyed. So, they're getting a little more, freedom out there, which allows guys to play better at an older age. What do you think about Jared Goff, right? He's not mobile, but it doesn't really matter when you have the best offensive line, the best running back duo, the best offensive coordinator, and some great all-pro weapons. Do you guys think there's another level that Jared Goff can kind of get to here? And maybe, I know people throw around the word MVP, and you'd have to have a Matt Ryan-esque season on top of everything.
Don't leave that out of the conversation.
Well, I already said my thoughts on it. It's hard when you have 2 potential 1,000-yard running backs. That's going to be hard to argue MVP, but what do you guys think? And Booner, I'll start with you, man. What do you think for Jared? How much higher can he get this thing in terms of his play?
I think, and people call me crazy, and I've already made the statement a couple times. I've already said I think Jared Goff can be over in LA for the NFL awards to be a finalist for the MVP award. And I wouldn't be shocked. And I saw an article a couple days ago we went over that said that it was like a hot take that Jared Goff wins the MVP. Like, I personally wouldn't be shocked. And I think it has to do with the number 1 offensive line. And yeah, if you want to say, well, all these things are helping him, he's not the one doing it. I give the example all of the time that the 49ers team, Christian McCaffrey should have won MVP. And guess what? Brock Purdy was the one in that conversation down the stretch. So, like, I think Jared Goff, you're looking at year 3 or year 4 now with Ben Johnson. Amon-Ra St. Brown now getting into his prime. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's supposed to take a massive step forward. Sam Laporta now year 2. Jameson Williams is supposed to step up. If Jameson Williams ends up turning into what he's supposed to be, imagine all those deep balls to Jared Goff. That, like, he's going to get more than 600 yards than Josh Reynolds got last year. Like, he's going to add more value to this offense. So, like, and Dale said, Goff breaks 5,000 yards this year. I don't know if he breaks 5,000. Like, there's a quarterback typically every year who hits that 5,000 mark, and that's typically your MVP. You look at it. But I do think there's a chance that he goes, what was he at? 4,500 and something this year. I think you could see him go up to 47, 48. And I get the two running backs. I get that. Those running backs essentially combined for 2,000 yards last year. So it's like, if they do that again this year and say some gets taken away from D-Mont, Jameer goes and gets 1,200, you're still essentially at the same mark there. Like, yeah, maybe if they get more, but I think this offense and the defense even being better, I might take him off the field a little. I just think Jared Goff is going to be a position like Brock Purdy was with the 49ers last year, to where they have a chance to go win 13, 14. 14's a lot, but 12, 13 games, get the number 1 seed in the NFC. And when you have the number 1 overall seed in the NFL, you look at that quarterback. And if that quarterback is thrown for 4,700 yards, 30-something touchdowns and under 10 interceptions, you're going to look at him no matter what's around him or anything. You're going to say, that's the league's MVP this year. He took he took this team to where they needed to be, and look at the stats he put up doing it. Like, that's how it works in the NFL this year. It's a quarterback's award. So I think he can be in the race by the end of the year. I'll say it again, week 17, wait for it. When they play the 49ers, if they win in San Francisco and he puts numbers up and he's having a good year, he's going to be in that conversation very, very fast. I think he could take a jump forward. This might be his best year of his career.
I mean, Boone, if all those things happen, I think the narrative definitely will align. I think what it depends on most, because he does have this running game and the fact that that from the NFL, I don't even think it's from around Detroit Lions fans anymore. Around the NFL, people are expecting a big year out of JMO. Jared Goff has got to show that. The Lions were dead last in air yards with 20, or dead last in the air attempts with 20 plus more yards. So they're taking the least deep shots in the league. I think Jared Goff has to be able to show that he can do that. I think he can, but I don't think he's had a consistent deep threat to be able to show it off. If Jared Goff can improve his accuracy and get attempts down the field to stretch this secondary on the opposing team so it can open up this running game more, I think that's where it can really take over. Because it's hard for me to see a situation where a quarterback, I know we saw it with Brock Purdy last year, but I think it was just a weird year as far as the narrative around him with CMC and him for the quarterback award, just because with all the injuries at the quarterback position. If Jared Goff can improve his accuracy down the field and just more attempts down the field, I think that's how he does it. But if he just keeps doing what he's doing, that's great. That's going to put the Lions in winning positions in the playoffs, but I don't know if it's an MVP level type of play.
Yeah, to be honest, guys, I think when the Lions are at their best, it's when they're running the ball effectively, they're protecting Jared Goff, Ben Johnson's dialing up the plays he's dialing up, and Jared Goff is executing them at a high level. So you need this run game to be elite, and that's not even anything towards Goff. That's just the reality. Their offense is a run-first offense. So if they're running the ball efficiently, then you're in a good position. Like and this isn't at you, Boone, but I'm just speaking to Lions fans in general. Like, when you look at MVP, I don't know if I want Goff to go get the MVP. Like, I think this Lions team is going to be at their best if they're running the football, their defense is playing well. Like, I don't know if him going out there and putting up Matt Ryan numbers, to me, it'd be impressive if he could. But I would look and be like, okay, what happened? Is the run game as efficient? What's going on? Like, why is he asked to do as much as he's being asked to do? That's what I'm wondering. And I'll ask you, Boone, too, for the MVP conversation. Respond to that. I mean, what do you think?
I just don't think that's the situation. I think
so. You think he could throw 40 plus TDs, whatever, 5,000, close to 5,000 yards, and you get 2,000-yard running backs.
If he throws 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, that's just Jared Goff playing good. Like, you got to think, he had some games last year, like the Baltimore game, the 2 Chicago games, a Packers game, the Thanksgiving game, where like he didn't play that great. And if he goes into this year and he knows, hey, I have to be more consistent this year, and he takes those 4 or 5 games and turns those in, saying, hey, I'm about to go in there and be consistent. Even the Dallas game, all the way down until the end of the game, like, there were plays where it was like, hey, if you make those plays, you are in a certain conversation. Like, I had that conversation going into Dallas, where even when he struggled throughout the year, going into Dallas, if he put up 300 and something yards and they go and win in Dallas and dominate, Jared Goff gets put in that conversation a little bit because the MVP race was so down last year. But like, I don't think it's a thing to where, hey, if he goes out and does what he did last year, fixes those couple games, that's not anything saying, hey, the run game's not good, nothing's good. No, that means the run game's really good. His play action is that much better and more open. all these other guys are more successful around him. The offensive line is playing at a very high level, and him and Ben Johnson are locked in together, and they're going out there and playing really good damn football. Like, that's all that means. And if they go out there and put 17 games together with an elite offense, a top 3 offense, and they don't have any slip-ups like they did with Baltimore and they did with the Chicago Bears twice and the Packers, or like, again, the Dallas game, I think, again, like I think that means Jared Goff has a better year statistically wise, and the team has a better year because they're not slipping up some of those games, and they're winning more football games than they did last year. They end up winning 13 instead of the 12, and they're in that number 1 seed conversation. I get what you're saying a little bit, but like, instead of, like, in my mind, I don't look at it like that. It just, for me, I'm like, all right, if this offense is clicking on all cylinders, Jared Goff is getting put in a very good position to be successful, like an extremely good position. And a lot of people look at that as a negative. Even people are like, well, Jared's not really that good. He's just in a good position. I don't think that's the case. Yeah, he's in a good position. Some quarterbacks are. Purdy was too, and he does make really good throws.
Yeah, and by the way, I get the situation is excellent. Like, I'm not gonna say that. But you know what my reasoning is, last year it's going to be a different defense, right? Your defense is going to be much more improved. So you're not going to have to throw the ball all around the field this year. I mean, at least in my opinion, I think it'll be in tougher teams though. So it could be closer to your point, Boone. I just think with a more improved, a much improved defense, especially the secondary, and you still have the run game they have. Like, I'm not saying the dude's going to throw 20 TDs. I think he could put up similar numbers than what he did last year, but I don't know if that's enough. Like I mentioned, the Matt Ryan season, I always bring up when he won MVP, I think they had a 1,000-yard rusher, and he barely got it, and they didn't have anyone else. So like, it was the Matt Ryan show. Like, he went out there and balled. It was huge. I don't know if that's going to be Jared this year. I think he'll put up some good numbers, but you're going to look at this offense and be like, wow, that's a well-oiled machine. And that's how I prefer it. You know, I don't know if I want it to be, we're talking about MVP, by the way. We're not talking about like just having a good season. Yeah, he's going to have a good season. I just don't, MVP numbers, dude, you know?
I just don't think, like, I think the running backs, like you had 2,000-yard running backs essentially last year.
And
like,
he wasn't in the combo at all.
No, but he still put up 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns.
He had a great year.
And again, he had 4 or 5 games where he played like he was not good. And again, down the stretch, going into Dallas, me and you and Klotz, we had this conversation, and on my old show, I had the conversation about going into the Dallas game that if he goes out there and puts numbers up and they win by 2 touchdowns, he gets put in that top 5 MVP conversation. Like, whether you liked it or not, the MVP was very, very down last year. That was the conversation that was being had nationally, that Jared Goff could potentially get in that. Like, he wasn't going to win it, but hey, he starts getting the odds start to move up, because last year going into Dallas, there were only about 7 guys left with odds in the sports book. Guess who was one of them? Jared Goff. So that means he was still in that conversation. Like, I get what you're saying, but you do have to look at situations where, like, Jahmyr Gibbs is in for another year. Ben Johnson, they're in year 3. They're going to click on another cylinder. Like, Jamison Williams takes a step forward. They had essentially 2,000-yard backs last year. If Gibbs is playing in one more game, you have 2 1,000-yard backs. So, like, this year, it's going to be the same. Like, whether they go out and get 2,200 yards, 2,000-plus yards from a running back duo is absolutely insane. And I don't think that, like, I think now Jared knows how to play with that. So, like, I think last year they were run first, and he still put the numbers up. This year,
the numbers will be there. I don't want to argue the numbers. He's going to have good numbers.
I just can't, like,
I don't think it'll be enough to be an MVP.
I don't think you can, like, take that. Like, again, I think it was the CMC Brock Purdy conversation like last year. I'll just always go back to that.
I see it. I mean, I think he could possibly be in the conversation, but I just think of guys like, obviously Mahomes is going to be there. Burrow is going to be in there. I think Josh Allen, he doesn't even have to win the CJ Stroud. I think Jordan Love, if he plays how he does, is definitely going to be in that conversation. Even
to Booner's point, Josh Allen, if he balls out and they win like 10 games. But
I mean, there's multiple guys who I think are more valuable. To your point, I think Goff, and I'm not saying Dak is on that level, but guys like Goff and Dak will always be putting up really good numbers and kind of put themselves in that category with those players. But at the end of the day, that's where, like, the narrative, I think it really could sway, because I know I have the Colts winning the AFC South, but in my opinion, if CJ Stroud wins the AFC South, and then it's going to be between him and Mahomes for MVP this year. That's where I lie with it. But I don't hate what you're saying about Goff. Like, if that happens, that's great. But I think with all the players still getting better, I think the defense does cause a little bit of a drop off statistically from Goff. maybe even more efficient because he's playing with less pressure. He's playing with the lead more, so he doesn't have to take as many risks. And if he does take a risk, they're more open. But I don't think he's going to have another production jump.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys. It depends, too, what the race looks like. I think we can all agree this year's race, down. I mean, you had 2 guys on the same team in the
Very
race.
down.
Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, that didn't make a lot of sense either. We all agreed McCaffrey was the MVP of the 49ers. So, MVP, and I agree with some of the comments, people just talking about how MVP is going to be a little political. You know, it could be just like Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to go out and win it again. I think he'll win it.
The weapons he has, I don't see
it's
how
unreal.
he doesn't.
Like, that's so I get that.
I do think there is a sense, like just like how I kind of came out saying Hutch is going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think there's a storyline to it. Like Hutch going out versus the Rams, like how I broke that down, like going versus the Rams, getting 2 sacks in primetime Sunday Night Football versus Matthew Stafford with the home crowd, maybe getting an interception, a fumble recovery. Like, I think that's like you have to start a narrative. That's why I think like I keep bringing up the thing to where it's like you have to get the number 1 seed. Like for him to win it in Detroit, you have to get the number 1 seed. You have to go out there and win 13 games. You have to like separate yourself when it comes to the narrative and the storyline. That's kind of where it comes from to me. Because Patrick Mahomes, they could get the number 2 seed and he could put numbers up and he still wins it. Same with Lamar Jackson. Like any of these guys, like some of these guys who are Josh Allen, just put numbers up. Like they don't need to go out there and get the number 1 seed and win 13, 14 games. Like, yeah, that helps a lot. But if you're putting the numbers up, people will look at you. A guy like Jared Goff, it's dude, hey, there is a narrative and there is media and politics behind it. And for a guy like Jared Goff to go out there and win it, who is, as people say, a game manager and has everything around him, you have to be in a really good position. It was like the Brock Purdy.
It has to align perfectly, Boone. Like everything, in my opinion, for him to win it, even to be in the in the conversation, I think it has to be aligned perfectly, almost like it did last season. To your point,
just like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, like if he wins that Ravens game, he's in it, and they were the 1 seed. But like if you win the Ravens game, you're the best team in football. The Ravens were at that time because they beat the 49ers, and it's just things didn't line up for them.
I want to.
Do you have a question, Jeff?
No,
no. You were going to ask me something.
Lucas brought up basically what I was going to bring up is all the MVP candidates, and you guys could give me who do you have more stock in at least getting into the being one of the finalists. I think we can all agree Mahomes, Burrow. And again, it's not just because of the names; it's the situation. Like Mahomes, I think the storyline matters. Joe Burrow storyline also. He's going to have to do a lot more this year. We can agree for them to win on offense. They don't have. I think it's a question mark who they have at running back, but he's going to have a lot more on his shoulders. CJ Stroud storyline, I think, is there, and he's set to break out and ball out this season. I mean, Jordan Love, you would have to say, because Jordan Love and Goff, people are going back and forth who's better. So if you think Jared Goff can do it, then you have to say Jordan Love. If he plays it really well, he's got a younger team. You know, like the storyline, right? He signs a contract. He's young. He had 1 season. Let's see if he can do it again. He balls out, whatever. There's a lot of guys that are going to have that type of storyline. I don't know if Josh Allen will, just because, again, I think they got to win like a lot of games. And it depends on how you feel about that. So Jared Goff, if he's going to do it, he's going to have to definitely put the numbers up. But I want to bring up something that we talked about weeks ago before we get to Dan Campbell. And we're also going to get through we do Future Fridays now, where we go. Booner's going to give us some lines. How we feel about him for certain Lions players. But before we do that, weeks ago, guys, we went through and listed out our potential breakout players. And I want to go through, revisit them. We're gonna see them on screen, all of our breakout players that we probably forgot some of them. And then kind of, hey, discuss it. Anything you'd like to change, who are you still confident in? Maybe, hey, new information. You're allowed to change your opinion.
Yep.
So let's bring it up. I'll bring mine up first because here I'll put mine on the screen. This is the 5 players that I put out there for my breakout players. Consistency, number 1.
Love it.
Give me points, boys. Come on, Jack Campbell, number 1.
Yep.
I had him as a breakout player, and I still believe that. I think Jack Campbell's going to take a significant jump this season. Number 2, I have Jameson Williams. Still believe that. I think Jamel's going to go out and show people why he was drafted, where he was drafted, be a very, very, very good number 2 wide receiver. Brian Branch, no question there. Terrion Arnold, I did have, even though he's a rookie, but I still think he can break out. What I mean by that is I think he'll come out this year and show why he should have been drafted higher than he was drafted. I'm not saying he's going to go out and have a Sauce Gardner-esque season, but I think he'll be very good as a rookie. There's going to be times where, yes, he's going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. You're seeing it in training camp, whatever. But by the end of it, he's going to be a significantly better player than he was at the beginning. So Terran Arnold is on this list. I don't care that he's a rookie. And then I have Aleem McNeil at 5. You could probably argue Aleem a little higher. You could probably put him at 4, put Terran at 5. But regardless, Aleem McNeil is going to be a breakout player. I would not change.
Can I ask a question with the Aleem one? We know what Aleem's going to be. Like, I guess he hasn't taken like that massive step, but we got to see him last year, what he could do. I guess, yeah, you could say a breakout player. Never mind.
Yeah,
If Aleem is broken out, I think the Lions are a little bit disappointed if that's what his breakout looks like.
That's fair. Because I wanted to move. I was going to move. I'll wait till I get to my list. But I like your list, Jeff, honestly. I think me and you have a very similar list. I think maybe we have just a couple guys moved around a little bit. But I think like the Terrion thing, I think it's spot on. I think the Branch thing, we've all had conversations. Brian Branch could be an all-pro safety this year, especially if he gets moved. I think shout out Klotz for bringing that up a while back, and now it's actually happened. And I think now that we're starting to hear like Aaron Glenn's perspective and Dan Campbell's perspective, like, hey, this is going to be a scary Brian Branch. And the Jack Campbell thing, I love him and JMO. I think they're going to have the two biggest jumps this year. Like, well, two of the biggest jumps, Jameer and Brian Branch still.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like honorable mentions. Is there anybody that you guys? I guess we can do it at the end. We'll wait.
Yeah, do it at the end. We'll look through it.
All right. So let's. Well, who wants to go next? Either of you. Anybody?
Boone, you go ahead.
I'll go. Yeah, because mine's similar. Yeah, mine's very similar.
Here's Boone's. All right, Boone.
So I think we have a very similar list. I literally have just Aleem at 3, and I had him. You had him at 5. I think obviously Jack Campbell. I think we're lockstep. That he takes a massive jump, and same with JMO. The one on this that I could add and maybe take off is maybe move Terrion back because as a rookie, but maybe Jameer in. I know Klotzy is big on Jameer, and we had I had the conversation that I thought I knew what he was going to be, so I didn't throw him on my list. But it makes sense because it's a similar thing than Aleem McNeil. I don't know. I think Terrion, it might take a little bit of time. And Dan Campbell spoke today on. I don't know if later we're going to play the videos, and if we do, then we could just hear it again. But Dan Campbell talking about Terrion, just saying like, "Hey, no, we like what we see so far." Whether you hear clips of him giving up big plays or struggling, I don't even take that much consideration into it because it's training camp as a rookie. Like, you need to get your feet wet a little bit. We know what he can do. He came from Alabama. Same thing from Brian Branch. Like, by the time the season came around last year for Brian Branch, people started having the conversation of, hey, he needs that spot. He needs to be starting. And I think Terrion, as you get 3, 4, 5 weeks into this training camp and preseason games, Terrion's going to take a very, very fast jump up. But yeah, that's mine there. A lot of people are saying James should be number 1. It's tough, dude. Like, it's so interchangeable. The Lions have so much young talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, pretty much same thing as Jeff. It's hard to hate on any of these picks. The only thing that I would be like, is the whole Terrion thing, but I get your guys' perspective on it. I just don't think it to what Jeff was kind of pushing back against. Like, it's hard for Terrion to break out in full form as a rookie, but if he has success and shows, I understand what you guys are saying there.
Yeah, and I'll wait because there is one thing I would be open to arguing, but we'll get to your list, Klotz, and then
I have one player that I almost said I wanted to replace for. I don't know if we're thinking the same thing here, Jeff.
We might be, but yeah, because I think I would be okay with that over Terrion, that said player, and I think Lukas may have that player on his list. But let's get to Klotzy's list.
Oh, hey, I want to notice one thing. Crazy how Jack Campbell's on this list, fellas. Anyways, number 1 is Jameer Gibbs. Number 1 is Jameer Gibbs. And I understand, to your guys' point, like, you might know what Jameer Gibbs is already, but we don't. We really don't. Like, we don't know how good. We know this man's good, but we really do not know how good this man can be. I think I've said it multiple times. I think outside of Christian McCaffrey, it's going to be Jameer Gibbs, Breece Hall, and Bijan Robinson for like the 2, 3, 4 spot. Whichever one you want to put, that's fine. But I think Jameer Gibbs does take the all-pro step. And Aleem McNeil, just because of the fact that I think Aleem's a guy that can go get 8, 9 sacks in this team this year. And that is a huge, huge step up, especially when they didn't go out and get that bookend opposite of Hutch. You look at Aleem last year, 5 sacks. I think if you can damn near double that, that's breaking out. And I think that he's definitely going to get more Pro Bowl votes. And if this Lions defense is a top 7 thing, that I'm not saying he's going to be an All-Pro, but he might get a vote or two. Then Brian Branch, fellas. This is between him and Gibbs, my 2 favorite Lions players. Moving him to safety, I think it's the same thing I was saying about Jahmyr Gibbs. We know Brian Branch is damn good, but we don't know just how good he actually is. I think he's another All-Pro guy. Jack Campbell, you guys have been harping on it all offseason as well as I, but you guys think he's going to be better than Anzo. We disagree, but we agree he breaks out this year. I think he's another guy that, like I said, I think Anzo is going to be an All-Pro type of guy possibly, but Jack Campbell's going to be a Pro Bowler right behind him. And then Jamison Williams, the reason why Jamison Williams for me is at 5 compared to 1 is because of what I was saying with what these players can do with their career compared to the rest of the NFL and guys at their position. I think Jamison Williams is going to be one of the most skilled wide receiver 2s in the NFL. But I think for him to break out, in my opinion, for Jamison Williams, it'd have to be in like a number 1 situation. Can Jamison Williams go out there and have a much improved season and really put himself on the map as a wide receiver 2? Yes. But I think when you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, RB1, Ali McNeil, defensive tackle 1, Brian Branch, he's the best defensive back on this team. And Jack Campbell, if he goes and do what you guys said, he'll be the number 1 linebacker on this team. So that's why J-Mo's at 5 compared to higher up. But I do think that J-Mo, you see what he's all about this year.
The Jahmyr, I do remember Jahmyr Gibbs at 1. I don't hate, man. I would have him at 1, but I understand it's your narrative, Klotz. You've been consistent. I will agree. Consistency, you boys have been consistent. So that's what we're checking on right now. I would not be upset if you want to argue him over Terrion. I can't. I don't hate that. I would probably put him where Terrion was on my list, maybe 4 or 5. But that's a player I don't necessarily hate. I don't.
I just think compared to last year, I think we can all agree he's going to be the focal point of this offense, at least on the ground. If you want to say Amon-Ra, I'm not going to hate you for it, but I think Jahmyr Gibbs is like the when you're going up against the Detroit Lions offense, the first guy you're game planning for is how to stop Jahmyr Gibbs, because if you can't stop Jahmyr Gibbs, why throw the ball? Like, you're just going to keep feeding him the rock, and then or David Montgomery. So I just think when you look at the importance of this is going to be a top offense in the NFL, and he's going to be the feature guy. I just think that's why he's at number 1, in my opinion. Like, he was a guy that was splitting snaps early on, trying to find his groove. And then towards the last end of the season, you really saw what he could be. But this is the season where you see what he's all about.
We have breaking news.
What's going on, fellas?
Jordan Love has signed his extension.
Oh, man.
What a time. What a time.
Jordan Love has signed his extension.
Happened,
4 years, $220 million.
So it'd be like 8 more than Goff.
Yeah.
What is that per year?
Highest paid QB in NFL history, despite only playing 1 season.
Good for the Packers getting it done. It's
highest paid quarterback. I wonder how much of it's guaranteed.
It's gonna be more than 2 in Goff.
Yeah, absolutely.
155 in new full guarantees.
Wow.
It says he also gets a $75 million signing bonus, a record $75 million signing bonus, plus $155 million in full guarantees. So I don't know if that's 155 plus 75 or if that's included.
Wow.
Nuts, boys. I mean,
so what was the guaranteed money? Repeat that.
So it's a 4 years, $220 million contract. Yep. It also gets a record $75 million in signing bonus, plus $155 million in new full guarantees.
Wow.
It's crazy. This time last year, and I know me and Booner especially, like, people were talking about, is Jordan Love even the guy? And now he just got paid the highest contract in NFL history with Patrick Mahomes in the NFL still. And I know obviously Patty Mahomes signed a couple years earlier, but it's just still crazy to see a quarterback that played 1 year. But honestly, the Packers, they had to do it, and I don't think they're in a terrible spot to do it, because if you look at all the weapons around Jordan Love, rookie contract, rookie contract, rookie contract, rookie contract. A lot of their core, they're going to be building their defense around outside of Rashawn Gary. It's guys like, I don't know. You got Eric Stokes, who's on a rookie contract. You got Lucas Van Ness, who they trust. They brought in Javon Bullard this offseason. They have Devontae Wyatt. Like, they're offensively and defensively, they're on a lot of rookie contracts, not to the extreme to the Lions or other teams like that, but it's not like this contract is going to completely fuck them, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? And it's a lot of money. It is, and you're putting a lot of faith, obviously, in Jordan Love to not only be able to do what he did last year, but significantly improve on that. I mean, highest paid quarterback. It should be Mahomes, but Mahomes takes discounts, and we all know that. But man, that's a lot of money. Oh my gosh! And by the way, Dak's sitting there. Dak's just sitting there going, yeah.
So what is he getting annually then? Is that 55?
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah,
so
well,
he's right there.
It'll differ.
Yeah, so but he like if you take that 220, that's the same as Trevor Lawrence and I think Joe Burrow, I think is at 55. So like that's the interesting thing. Is like that's a lot. 150. That's a big contract. $75 million signing bonus. That's
and then Goff got what was it? 73. So $1 million signing bonus. So we got a couple million more signing bonus. And what was the guaranteed money? Because Goff got 170.
It was 155, but the signing bonus was I don't know how that someone I guess
so
in
Goff
the chat,
got more
maybe.
Guaranteed money. So I guess Love he's bank maybe a little bit of his, hey, you gotta live up to that contract. It's interesting. Packers, they have a lot of guys on cheap deals, so they can maneuver around that. Tom Grassi, shout out to him. Got his quarterback locked down. But hey, that Goff contract just keeps aging like fine wine. As guys get paid. Dak, the next one, you're going to be like, wow, whether it's in Dallas or it's somewhere else, but he's going to get paid a lot of money too, around that number, if not more. Because he's got at least more to bring to the table in terms of like a longer period of like having great seasons.
Leverage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that everybody in Green Bay right now is happy with this news because I think Jordan Love, when you look at the contract, maybe like, but to the same point we're saying about Goff right now, like it's a big contract, but let's not act like this is miles above what Goff just got paid. So when you look at it next offseason, it's like, okay, yeah, that's what about Jordan Love should be making. And we might even look back at it like, wow, they got Jordan Love for cheap. So I don't get why people are like, oh, the Packers just max themselves out of anything down the road. Like, no, the Packers, if they sign one or two guys on the defensive side of the ball or on the offensive line, like they're going to be contenders. So this is a good time to sign Jordan Love while you still have other weapons on the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing with the Packers. Is I know, like, and I'm with you on that, Klotz. It's obviously we hate the Packers, but like, is the NFL like? Let's look at just the NFL as a whole. That's what they needed to do was lock him up because they have such a young football team right now as well. It's similar to the Lions, to where the Lions are able to go get Goff for that 4-year extension, and you're like, you're gonna have to pay guys eventually. But like they didn't really have that many guys on big contracts. I know Rashawn Gary got one, I think, just a little bit ago. Kenny Clark just got one, but like Jair Alexander, or I'm naming a couple, but there are still a lot of young pieces on that football team.
Those guys are already paid too, Boone. Like they're already accounted for.
As much as we make fun of Goots, he's a good GM. He has drafted good young talent. So like that's good for the Packers to do that. Now I get if you want to question and say, hey, Jordan Love only had 10 good games, and he had that stretch where there was that point to where, if you guys remember, in media, there was that point where people were like, hey, if he doesn't win next week or if he struggles these next couple of weeks, Jordan Love's out. And then they were questioning, like, is he the guy we want to roll with, whether it was a joke or not? Like there were conversations, but I just don't think to where it's like you have a guy who has the talent. He went out there and won a playoff game. Pay him his money and like, all right, let's roll with him for the next 5 years. Not like as soon as you pay him their money. Same thing with that window just opened up. Now it's time for the Green Bay Packers. Like you have to be competing with the Detroit Lions, and it's time for to compete for Super Bowls with this core. Like right when you pay your quarterback, that's when the window opens up, in my opinion. And I think now that they know that, they know what they were doing, and that it's interesting. That's a big contract.
Yeah, I mean, and Goff got paid based on a bigger sample size. I mean, of playing well, playing at a top 5 level. Consistency. I mean, Jordan Love, you're banking. Again, it goes back to that Trevor Lawrence point I made. It's not the same because Love showed more last year than Trevor Lawrence has shown in his career statistically. I get that. Okay, I understand that. But the Jags paid Trevor Lawrence not on what he is, it's what he can be or what he will be. They believe. Same thing for the Packers. They're paying Jordan Love on what they think he will be. And boy, he's got to live up to it, which I think he will. but that's what they're paying him for. I know it's hard. It's like, 1 year or half a year, 8 games or whatever. I see WMU. Jordan Love played great for 8 games. So did Scott Mitchell in Miami.
Oh,
like,
God.
I do think they're like what Jordan Love is.
They obviously believe there's more there. A lot more there. We'll find out.
There was a situation with Jordan Love though, and Klotz, you break down film, you love watching film. I think if you just watched what Jordan Love did versus Dallas versus the 49ers, like they should have beat the 49ers. I know he threw the pick down, he versus the Lions, like the throws he was making on Thanksgiving. Like I know he threw the interception down the stretch with the 49ers, but he was making plays all day long. I remember watching the game with I think Jeff and Easy, and we were in Royal Oak watching the game. And he just kept making throws. And we were looking at each other, and Spencer was there too. And we're like, dude, like this is going to be if this is the guy that's in our conference the next couple of years, like we got to get a secondary. We have to get a defense. Like he is cutting people up right now. So like I don't think it's if I was the GM of the Packers, I probably would have done the same exact thing, and I would have signed Jordan Love to that contract. Yeah. I don't think anyone else will.
It was a flash in the bottle, but that flash was like, holy shit. Like in my opinion, I think CJ Stroud's definitely going to go on to be the better quarterback, but CJ Stroud this season and that last half of Jordan Love was very similar. And I think Jordan Love definitely had more production. I think he was in a better situation than CJ, but Jordan Love last year, it's nothing to be like, because I saw somebody was trolling me in the chat, calling me a Packers simp. No, it's nothing to do with that. Because I was a Jordan Love hater going into the season, but that is definitely a quarterback, a team, and an organization that all Lions fans, whether you like him or not, you should respect at what they're doing, because I think as long as they have a quarterback like that, if you keep playing like that, that's going to be the Lions' biggest competition, regardless of who's in the AFC, because every year you got to beat them to win the division. If you do that, they're probably going to be in the playoffs, so you might have to play in the playoffs as well. So that's going to be the team that the Lions are always competing against, and they're damn good, so you got to respect them.
Yeah, I honestly, look at this graphic, and Boone, you mentioned it earlier. Now with Jordan Love signed, look at $1.25 billion from that 2020 NFL draft class from quarterbacks: Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. You won't see too many quarterback classes like that. There's all 5 of them essentially worked out and became guys that were around for their second contract. They re-signed them all.
Hey. It is interesting, and I think this is kind of a crazy thing to look at. And this is where maybe when we look at the contract, it is crazy. And I think we're going to look a couple years down the line, some of these quarterbacks aren't going to work out. And there's going to be teams and it could be the Packers, who pay Jordan Love, and you're like, yeah, we shouldn't have done that. Because look at Joe Burrow. So I heard the rumor was the reason this deal wasn't getting done was because of the terms of the contract, so the years. So Jordan Love was probably looking to get 5 years, and if he would have gotten 5 years at $55 million, he would have gotten the same exact contract as Joe Burrow, 5 years, $275. Like that's what it would have came out to be. In my like, there is the point and the aspect where you do look at it and you go, Jordan Love, Joe Burrow. Give me Joe Burrow 10 times out of 10 times. That man's already been to a Super Bowl without an offensive line. Yeah, he has the weapons, but again, it's those things where pay Joe Burrow $55 million and give him a couple weapons and find a way to give him offensive line. He'll take you to a Super Bowl. Jordan Love has just had a half of a season of success, and this isn't a knock on him because we already said we would have probably made the deal. But Jordan Love has only had a half a season to where he beat the Dallas Cowboys, which the Dallas Cowboys, no one on this earth knows when the last time they were successful in the playoffs, and he goes out and wins that game and then loses the 49ers. So it is a little like, hey, some of these contracts aren't going to work out. Some of them aren't. Whether it's Tua, it's Jordan Love. The one that probably has the least amount of a resume is probably Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa.
It's not even probably, Boone. Like it's
so.
Yeah. It's like you said, like it's the riskiest contract, but potentially, I think outside of Burrow and I think Herbert, once Harbaugh gets what he's going, like Herbert's going to be a guy that's contending for a Super Bowl every year, at least a quarterback that can will you there every year. I think Jordan Love is the one that he could sniff into that tier. I don't think he ever will, but he potentially could. And like Jalen Hurts and Tua aren't doing that. So I think that's probably the biggest risk reward there.
Yeah. The Lions, and you're going to see it. The Lions made a great call extending Goff when they did. And credit to Goff for wanting to get this deal done early and not holding out, being a little bit of a diva, but also from a player's perspective, I get it. You're trying to get paid, and especially guys that are in their first contract, like all these players are. You see those guys, a couple, Jordan Love, Tua, they didn't participate. They were waiting to get paid, and rightfully so. It's their first big deal. I mean, we would all do the same thing. If I'm trying to get my first big contract, I'm getting my money. And Jared Goff already got paid, so a little different, but still. Lions made the smart move by extending him. I can't imagine what guys like CJ Stroud are going to make.
True.
I mean, that's in what, 3-4 years?
Think about your boy. Think about if Caleb Williams lives up to the hype. Think about how much the quarterback just in this division will be getting paid.
Gosh. And your guy JJ Boone, if JJ shows any sign of
taking reps with the third string in training camp so far.
Do you know who's really looking at this deal and going, "Hey, give me my money," and he's going to get the next big contract? Is Dak Prescott. Dak, he just called Jerry Jones on the phone, and Dak said, "Hey, Jerry."
Dak. Oh, Dakota Rain.
We're all in.
How much are you willing?
This playoff game.
I guess this is a serious question here. How much are you paying a Dak Prescott? Because I'm not saying it for the Dallas Cowboys, but say because I already had the take that I think Dak says, "Hey, I'm leaving Dallas." If I'm Dak Prescott, I think Dak does have an arm, and if you put him around the right position, put him in the right position. Imagine. I'm trying to think of a good example here. Imagine a Dak where Purdy is too. I don't think he's a bad. People are going to look at him a little differently. Oh, he's winning games. I think he's going to go out there and say, "Hey, give me 57, give me 56."
I mean, if I'm Dallas, I'm not re-signing him. I think it's doing what, and I know you guys might not like this, but it's what I felt the Lions did when they re-signed Stafford. Stafford wasn't a bad quarterback, but Stafford with the state of the team was not winning you a Super Bowl. And I think Dak Prescott is not winning them a Super Bowl. It doesn't make him a bad player, but Dak wants to get paid. What?
I mean, Matthew Stafford left and won a Super Bowl year one.
That's why I said with the state of the team, re-signing Matthew Stafford cripples you from winning a Super Bowl.
You were saying you're never going to win a Super Bowl with him.
The Lions were never going to win a Super Bowl re-signing Matthew Stafford.
That's fair.
Do I blame them for doing it? No. Do I blame Stafford for getting paid? No. But I'm saying that was the fact of the matter. I think that's the same thing with Dak. The problem is Dak wants to get paid. So if he leaves, unless he does it on a short team, he's probably going to a team that's ass because that's the team that needs quarterbacks. So
they have money.
It's a tough situation. And I think Dak, the sooner he signs, honestly, is probably the better for him because he's already going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league by default. But don't just cap yourself out. And if I'm Dallas, I wouldn't even try to sign him, to be honest. I'm just getting that rebuild on the road. Jerry's not going to do that, obviously, but I think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, we'll see. The Dak Prescott, I mean, it's he's still due, and so are guys that are coming up the next couple of years. So it's only going to continue. I mean, guys are going to be making 60, guys will make 70. I do
think there's going to be a cap with quarterbacks. Eventually it's going to have to stop. You're not going to get to a player making 80, 90 million a year. There's going to be I think it was Dan Orlovsky actually that was saying it the other day on the Pat McAfee show. They asked him hey, when's this going to end? And he did mention hey, there's going to be a cap at some point, but until then, some of these players are going to be just it's constantly going to be going up, and people are going to be asking for it. I'm shocked. A Mahomes, I guess he's already made his money in the league and he gets so much money outside of it because he's Patrick Mahomes to where he has the luxury. But some of these guys like Jordan Love, hey, you need to get money. You need to get paid. And then after your first contract, you can take those cuts. But it's interesting to see some of these guys. Lamar's probably so mad. He should have maybe waited a year. He's at 52. He could have easily been just 2 MVPs, been at 56, 57. He's probably punching the air right now, an extra, $5 million.
That man still got paid though.
For sure.
that man makes money.
Yeah, and Love signed a 4-year deal, so that means he'll be re-upped quicker than the 5-year guys. So,
yeah, they're going in 3 years. He's going to be give me another extension.
And that's what Kirk did. Kirk Cousins would just be franchise tag, 3-year contract. Franchise tag, 3-year contract. And he's made the most out of any quarterback over the last 9 years. Kirk Cousins.
And that franchise tag fully guaranteed. Yeah. So he's pocketing, he's getting all that money. So I mean, hey, that's wild. At least we got it live on the show, so that's awesome.
That's but it's crazy that they earlier in the show we're when's this going to get done? Or at least I was. And then
it got done. I want to transition. I want to go to the futures. It's a good time to get to the futures. And Boone, we're starting to do this every Friday, where we go through You give us some future bets.
Yeah.
Could be real, could be not real. Whatever. I don't know what direction you're going, but future bets. Talk to me. What do you got today? Let's do this thing.
How about this? Let's do this. You guys want to do something different we haven't done yet?
I'm down, Boone.
All right. So typically we do Detroit Lions. We've done a lot of Detroit Lions bets. Since the breaking news here of Jordan Love, this is what we'll do. I'll go into the app here, and let's do some NFC North ones here. All right. We'll do a couple of NFC North ones, and we'll start with Jordan Love. Jordan Love this season, the $55 million man, Green Bay Packer. His over-under for total passing yards in 24-25 is 3,825.5. And the over is -112. Are you taking the over or under? So essentially to get, let's say, 3,900.
I mean, yeah, I feel like outside of injury, that's like easy money. He could probably miss 2 games, and he's probably throwing for 4,000 yards. So, yeah, give me the over on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pocket that. I'm serious. That's free money. Dude's throwing for 4,000. It just happens. I mean, he just got paid. I guess now last year compared to this year, I mean, there's a development. Last year was about development for him, but now this year it's like you're paid. That weight's off your shoulders. Go out and ball. And I think even if he throws like 15, 16 picks, you could still throw for a ton of yards. So give me the yards.
I mean, we went back because we were talking about the 5,000 yards. Jameis Winston, there's been 9 quarterbacks that throw for 5,000 yards, and Jameis Winston was one of them. And I think if Jameis Winston can throw for 5,000, Jordan Love 3,800 is a given, just by default.
Man, I forgot about Jameis.
The year he led the NFL in interceptions, he also threw for 5,000 yards.
That was the
only other ones were like Mahomes, Herbert, Stafford, Drew Brees, and Brady, and Peyton. And then there's just Jameis Winston and Dan Marino.
And that was 16 games too, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Jameis did have a big year. Like he had a massive year. He just threw for so many interceptions. And the crazy thing is, the crazy thing with Jameis is the whole time he just couldn't see. Like he threw for 30+ touchdowns. He just could not see. Like he had to get he got LASIK surgery. And then after he was like, yeah, I didn't like, no wonder he threw all those interceptions. Like dude was blind playing football, but was actually going nuts.
The way Jameis plays football, he is the most wild card quarterback. Like a coach can give him a play and Jameis Winston won't run it. Like he'll make it the Jameis Winston play, and Mike Evans is down there somewhere. Hand the ball off to Jamal Williams at the last play of the season type of thing to get him all the touchdown. It's Jameis Winston's offense.
Yeah,
I'm a Jameis fan. I love watching. I saw a video today of him running with Mike Vrabel. They do like in practice, those two race. Like it's just Mike Vrabel and Jameis Winston racing down the football field.
Going back to our conversation a little bit yesterday, Booner, about getting like a legit backup, like I think Jameis Winston would be perfect. Exactly what you want for in Detroit, just because you don't know what you're going to get out of him, but he's going to try to win that game up until the final second.
Oh, for sure.
I would love Jameis Winston on the Lions.
Real quick, too, the Jordan Love. Do the Packers have anyone on their offense that they have to pay like very soon, or are they pretty set outside of Jordan Love?
Besides, they just paid a running back. Paid a running back. Paid Josh Jacobs.
How much was that, though?
10 mil. Brutal. I think what is it, like a 1-2 year deal anyways?
Something like that, yeah. But I think their offensive line's a little older. I mean, they drafted a tackle this year, but they have Elgin Jenkins.
I think he's already re-signed, though. I could be wrong.
That's the only guy that I think. Everyone else is on a rookie deal for the most part, Yeah.
They all those wide receivers.
Dobbs is coming up, right? How many years has he been in the league?
This is going to be his 3rd year.
So he's not a 1st-round pick, so he's going to get paid soon, next year or two.
But I don't think that's not a guy you're going to give a lot of money to when you got the guys behind him. Like Christian Watson, I'm sorry. Like I'm not paying Christian Watson when I have Dontavion Wicks behind you. I'm not.
Can I share my screen real quick?
Yeah.
I know we're getting off topic here. But we're talking about their cap space. There's going to be ads on here. I'm going to try and zoom in so you guys don't have to see the ads. This is crazy. This is nuts. Here, let me add to stage. Oh, I don't know what I did.
There you go.
Look at this, though. So Kenny Clark, I think this is 2024 active roster cap hit, 26 million. That's a big cap hit. He just got the extension. Jair 23. Now you obviously, I don't know what Jordan Love's hit will be this year, but once you get down here, like Josh Jacobs is only $5.3 million cap hit this year. Keyshawn Nixon 3.9. Like they don't have a lot of guys on big deals.
They're gonna cut Preston Smith pretty soon too. Like
do you see how quick that gets into 1 million though? Like Romeo Dobbs,
yeah,
1.1.
I would assume you look at some of their older players could potentially be on their way out. I mean, Jair, Kenny Clark,
crazy.
Like those guys, they're probably going to start drafting those replacements because
these ads are killing me.
I
pop up anywhere, but like, do you see what I'm saying? Like they just paid him.
Yeah.
They were able to pay him as much as they wanted to because like you don't have guys on deals. The Lions do have a couple guys, but even the guys that they brought in, Josh Jacobs, a $5 million cap hit in 2024. I don't know what it's going to be next year, but like this year, dude. Their books are interesting.
The Bills always do at some point. You know, it's just how that works. Lions will get to that point too. Bill will be due, and some players you just want to keep won't be able to stay there. You know, that's why. Kenny Clark, maybe. Kenny Clark. Oh, it's Kenny Clark. He's not.
He's probably like 30, like 29, 30. He's been there for a minute.
Has he?
So hey, Brian,
28. Yeah,
we'll see it. Well, you're gonna have to draft some replacements because at corner, I don't know if they have Jair's replacement. Eric Stokes, very fine.
He's all right.
But he ain't
shaky.
Jair. Yeah,
no.
So that's for them to solve, not us. But Boone, let's move on to the next one.
I got another Jordan Love one here for you.
Oh, jeez. What are we?
We're sticking with the Jordan Love contract extension kind of thing here. Jordan Love, total touchdowns this year over 27.5. It's plus money. It's plus 105. Last year, Jordan Love had 31 touchdowns in his like breakout season, which is very good.
This is total touchdowns or just
passing touchdowns. Passing touchdowns is at 27.5. I'm gonna.
That's honestly not that bad of a line, especially because I think he was just on a tear towards the end of the season. I don't know if he'll be able to do that consistently, but I'll go over. I see him getting like 30 this year. So I think he gets probably like touchdown wise. I don't see him throwing for like 40 touchdowns. I don't see that happening, but he gets over 28.
I'm going under. Give me the under. I think he maybe you see it happens, right? You go out, he has 30 TDs, maybe next season 26 TDs, 12 picks, something like that.
Right.
It happens. I can see that. 30 TDs back-to-back seasons, that's insanely impressive. I mean, you're on a pretty good trajectory there. I'll go under because sometimes things must come down to go back up, you
do love your up-down theory. You love that.
Hey, you with me, Boone? Come on.
You've kind of screwed me over on it a couple times when it comes to betting, but sometimes I trust it and I'll run with it.
He gives me a shot. He trusts me. I'm going under.
I'm gonna go over. I think if he had 31 last year and he had like that stretch of football where he wasn't like playing at the level he could be, and I think I don't know. It feels like Christian Watson as well, like is a big touchdown threat for them. Did you guys lose me?
No, you're
for
good.
A split second we did. At least I did for a second.
Yeah, no, I was gone for a second on my end too. We've got the stream tonight. That made me worried. And then the adapter didn't come in through Amazon, so I'm in a little a pickle over here, like they say.
little pickle.
I just think like with Christian Watson, it seems like Christian Watson, they figured out this injury that he's had going on. Like he went to some like scientific place and they figured out I don't know if it was like a hamstring thing where he kept getting these hamstring injuries, and he went to like some college and they were like, hey, this is why you're having it, and they fixed it. So I think like Christian Watson, a healthy Christian Watson, a touchdown threat, Romeo Dobbs. I think that Jaden Reed there too. I think that he goes over.
Yeah.
These guys just are going to get better and better. And I think like they're going to help him kind of improve. I think he goes back-to-back 30 touchdown seasons, Jeff. I know you like the up-down theory. I just think like he got a feel of what it's like to play at a high level the last 10 games. I think he kind of transitions over, and in the next season, same thing. And those wide receivers are another year. Now you have Josh Jacobs. Obviously he's not really a receiving back, but you know what I mean? Like another threat.
It sounds everything. It sounds great. Clip
I think he
narrative,
goes
though,
back to
Booner.
back 30.
Clip this.
Clip this.
All
Remember
right.
this, boys. This will be a day that goes down in crunch time history.
Bro's getting
Last Green Bay Packers thing here. This isn't a player total or anything. This is a win total for the Green Bay Packers. We'll just stick an NFC North theme here. Over under Green Bay Packers 9.5 wins. So essentially the over is minus 138. To get to plus money, I can go to alternate win totals here, and you can get them at 10.5 to win 11 games at plus 130 or plus 140. So what are you guys taking? Are you guys taking the over 9.5 with them? I think personally, they end up getting 10 wins. I think the Lions are at 12 and they're at 10. Or Lions at 13. I've been consistent. Lions at 13.
Check yourself, Boone.
I've been
I'm
consistent.
with you. It's over. I think they're 10 possibly if they have their ceiling. I think they're 11, 12 win team, but I don't think they'll get that. I think they're a 10 win team just like you, Boone.
Yeah, I'm going to go over slightly. I think they're a 10, 11 win team. So maybe 11. So I'm going to go over. I think the only way they win 9 is if injury riddled or Love just completely stinks. I mean, I don't know. One of the two would have to happen. They have a pretty good team. And they won. What'd they win this year?
I think they won 10. I don't know.
They'll be in that same realm. So I'm going to go a game or two over. Not
11.
super
Packers
confident, but
11.
I think they'll be over.
Yeah, they last year they were at 9 last year. So
yeah, that I am with you. I think they do improve in the win total.
All right. That's all the Packers ones I have. I don't think the Packers have many other.
That's fine. We'll get through the Packers.
All right. I'll just go over here. We'll just do some. Let's do this. Let's do this. Are you guys ready? I have a new Future Friday subsection here. You guys ready for this?
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's do bets on NFL teams to make the playoffs. So right now I have 3 of them, and what we can do is if there are people in the chat that have predictions of teams to make the playoffs, we can look at their odds and saying if you guys have some teams that you guys want to bet on. The first one I'm going to start off with here, and it's a yes or no. The Chicago Bears, they are minus 108 to make the playoffs, and I think minus 112 to not. Are you guys taking yes or are you guys taking no? Are they in or are they out? Which one are you betting? Are you taking the bet?
I'm gonna go no. I'm gonna go no. No. I'm gonna go no. I big Caleb Williams guy. Not because he's with the Bears, relax. But I'm gonna go no. Because I think this year they're probably going to be a 7 to 8 win team at most 9, and they miss. So I'm going to go no on that. Not this year. No way.
Wow.
Yeah. They're not cut like that. They're not cut from the same cloth as the Detroit Lions. And I think it's going to be a nice Cinderella story, Jeff. Their defense will be solid, but Caleb's going to struggle early on. He'll get his legs under him, and he'll end up having some success late. But nope, they don't do it. So I won't win Rookie of the Year.
Woo,
I agree with that. I am Marvin Harrison Jr. with you.
Smart man. We can.
Wait, whoa! Was that breaking news?
What?
I thought we've gone over this before, and you had Caleb Williams winning Offensive Player or Rookie of the Year.
No, he's always supported that take.
Yeah, because I don't think he'll win. It is a quarterback award, but I don't.
Klotz,
I think Marvin Harrison will.
This guy, dude.
Yeah, this guy. Here's the guy.
No, I think you don't have to win offense rookie year to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, that's not. He'll be fine. Marvin Harrison Jr. I think will have such a good year. Like he could have 1,300 as a rookie, Boone. Like you got to give that man offensive rookie of the year.
Klotz, I stand on business, right?
You do.
Who did I pick for offensive rookie of the year?
Jaden Daniels.
Stand on business.
Okay, stand on it.
All right, next one here. Next team to make the playoffs. Yes, the Indianapolis Colts. They are plus 132, plus money, plus 132 to make the playoffs. Are you taking the bet or are you saying I'm out? I'm not putting my money there.
Boone. I know that we have come to split seas about our Colts take, but I, without a doubt, am taking that, and I'm sleeping well. Give me that, and I hope that you as well, Booner. I know Iafrate's got his Texans and his Jaguars narrative, but I hope you would be wise enough to realize that this Indianapolis Colts team is at least at their floor wildcard team.
Yeah, their floor is not a wild card team. I think their ceiling is a wild card team.
Oh my gosh.
I think their floor is a team that wins 7 games, 6 games, maybe 7 games. Ceiling.
How many games did they win last year, Jeff?
I mean, it was cute. They went out there and competed.
Just how many? It's like it's not an outstanding number, but how many games did they win last year?
I believe they won. What was it? 9? Maybe 9.
9. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 9
and
games.
Okay,
Who's their quarterback?
I'm not even going to say anything more than that. I'll just say that.
Gardner Minshew, very good quarterback.
I'm gonna make my statement.
He's a fine quarterback.
Booner's ready.
The Indianapolis Colts take the bet plus 132. Very good value. Very good value. Very good value.
Stand on business.
They said
Continue.
the people that told me he has good value. I look around here, they have good value. I'm taking give me the bet. I'm taking it plus 132. I do think like the value of it at plus 132 when you look at it. If Anthony Richardson's healthy for the whole year, seeing what Gardner Minshew did with this offense, Shane Steichen with Anthony Davis, a higher ceiling of a quarterback, I do think they can make the playoffs. I think I would take the bet. I for sure would.
So you have 3 teams in that division making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really good division.
Look at it. You don't even know. He's like,
well, does the AFC North not exist?
Browns out.
You have 3 teams in that division making the playoffs. You have the Colts.
No, I think it's going to come
Jags.
down to the Colts and Jags.
So
Right
2.
now, I'm in the middle.
I
of
got
those
it.
Hey, stand up, Mr. Stand up.
Hey,
business. Pick a side.
you're
Pick a
standing
side.
on business, Boone.
Do I need to make a statement right now? Do I need to pick a side?
You do. You do.
Yeah, hell yeah. What are you? You're playing both? Well,
Booner, this
you
is an
stand
easy
on business.
decision.
Tell me, Boone. 3 teams out of that division?
Texans is a gimme. Texans are already in the playoffs.
So
Give
you was
me-
higher than
give
Jack
me-
last week. Let's see what this
Give
week.
me. I'm not switching off this anymore. I will not move. I will stay pat with this. I love both of you guys. We've had good conversations about this. I think this has been a very, very fun topic throughout the offseason with the fellas. Alex Merrill, Jeff Iafrate, Lukas Klotz. I have decided to go with the Indianapolis Colts.
Let's go. Oh my god.
The Indianapolis.
We're
Booner's
taking
out.
W. Booner. We're taking W. You're gonna make your money, Booner.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yo,
That's what it's about, Booner. The decision, you made the correct one. You made the correct one. You left Cleveland to
Jeff.
Miami to go get a ring right there. That's what you did.
This
Sorry,
man
Jeff.
just said a week ago, hey Jeff, you know what? You're I'm kind of feeling what you're saying with the Jags. Like, yeah, they are.
You
gonna
came
be
back
pretty
down to
good.
earth. I wasn't there when I was gone is when this happened. You took advantage of him. You took advantage of him is what you did.
Well, what really happened was
No
I
diddy.
was watching
No
the
diddy.
video, and you guys know me. If you guys haven't known me long enough, and people in my life know me, when I see ads and when I see videos, I can get sold very, very fast. I watched a video of how the Jags started. Yeah, the Jags started the season 8-2 last year, and they were off and rolling. And I was like, hey, dude, if they're healthy, this is a team. 8-2, like this is a ball team here. I'm starting to fall a little bit more for the Colts. I'm hearing people talk about them. I'm getting a little bit more sold on them. And you know what really has done it? You know who came out and said that they're a really big fan of the Colts, and you guys know who is. You guys have Louis Riddick, Joel Klatt. You guys know who my guy is?
Who's that, Boone?
You guys know Dan Orlowski.
No,
Danny O.
Oh,
Dan
yeah.
O. That's
I
my
love
guy.
Dan.
When he says something, I sit down and I listen. And he said, hey, the Indianapolis Colts is going to mix up the whole AFC playoffs if Anthony Richardson stays healthy. So, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're plus 124 to make the playoffs. So it is a little bit of a difference there.
All right. Hey,
Brady.
So for those who don't know, that division, I have the Texans. Number 1, I have the Jags. 2, the boys clearly have the Texans and the Colts. They don't like the Jags. I am higher on the Jags than the Colts. You can have the Colts. That's fine. We'll move on. Booner, the point is understood. You had Klotz whip out the wife beater. I mean, I don't know what much to say. I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I don't like, I feel like I'm Alabama and Klotz is like Georgia or he's Ohio State. You can have that. And we just lost a recruit. We just lost a damn good recruit. It's like,
Booner.
you know what? You just got to keep it moving.
And great choice by standing by your CPO side, by the way. But this is just like, when you talk about, when it's like you're just right. It's kind of just amusing to listen to you. You use this. I forget which take you use this on. You were like, I just know you boys are wrong. And it's just fun to watch at this point. This is how I feel with Jeff and the Jaguars take. It'll be the Jags might start off hot. They might start off like 4-2. But what's the Jaguars' identity?
What? What's the Jags' identity?
Yeah.
Well, their identity, they want to run the football.
They want to.
They want to, yeah. And he's a pretty good running back. And Trevor Lawrence, when they run the football effectively with the weapons he has, I think he's going to go out this year and have a pretty good year. Trevor Lawrence play action.
What's their clear identity? Offensive. Well, you could go defensively too.
Yeah. Well, defensively, it's definitely that defensive line. Definitely
stopping the run or the pass, though.
It's well, it would, I guess, the run. The pass ain't getting stopped. So hey,
that secondary ain't stopping a nosebleed. Iafrate.
Hey, defense.
There's a lot of good receiving cores in that division.
Trevor Lawrence, and when you have a great quarterback, you lean on him. They're going to lean on Trevor Lawrence. You can lean on Anthony Richardson. He'll be out half the season. But I think they'll lean
don't let Joe Flacco get in there. Oh, no. Okay. Don't let Joe Flacco get in there.
You guys have lost me with I don't even know where you guys are at right now.
No, we'll move on. We'll move on. You chose the side, Boone. Colts making the playoffs. I don't think they will. Klotz thinks they will. So we'll move on. That's fine. Lost a good recruit.
I need to get a Colts hat. Part of it too is one of my best friends is a Colts fan,
so. Don't do that.
No, that doesn't fall anywhere in this.
No. I had a conversation with a former.
Now it's a biased take.
I had a conversation. No. I had a conversation with the former Colts alumni.
This takes away.
The former Colts. My friend said, "Hey, this is where the Colts are at. This is where their heads at. This is what it is." It was like a recruiting trip essentially. He said, "Hey, this is what's happening here."
Oh my gosh!
I might be in. I might be in with the fellas here. Like, did you know Latu, that tattoo he has, at least from what I was told, he had that tattoo before he got drafted. He didn't get that. Like, it was destiny. Like, it was destiny. And when I start hearing things like that, I mean, this is unbelievable.
He's so good.
You know what's going through my mind, honestly, right now? I zoned out for a little bit. I shouldn't have done this, but I know we're on a show, and I pulled up Twitter on my computer. I just keep seeing this Jordan Love thing here, and it's just on my mind. Like, I can't stop thinking about this. This is just in my head, is the fact that they just paid Jordan Love $55 million, and the Detroit Lions probably are going to win the division like 3 or the 4 years that he just signed that contract. Like I'm just mind boggled. Like there's so many divisions around the NFL where there are going to be a lot of quarterbacks paid. My mind just keeps thinking like,
well, it's either him or Sean Clifford, Booner. Who's giving you the better chance?
Yeah, but like I guess so. I guess you have to pay $55 million, but you're paying $55 million what to win one division in the next 4 or 5 years? That's just it's brutal. It just went through my mind. I'm sorry, guys. My mind goes everywhere.
Hold on. How long do you think he notices, Booner?
What
do we got next, Boone?
Was he muted?
He was muted. Yeah, he was muted.
No, I wasn't. Sorry.
I don't know. You guys know what I'm saying with that? I hope you guys do. I hope you guys understand.
No, but to your they got to. You know what I mean? Like the Ravens, or even vice versa with the Ravens and the Bengals, how many times are they going to win the division with those quarterbacks on their team? But you got to sign them because they give you the opportunity too.
It's crazy. It's great. That money, dude. Getting that money just to lose, not win divisions. It's like it's tough, dude. This conversation right now could really backfire on me.
Yeah, well, clip this. Screw it. Clip it.
No. We're on the same team here when it comes to that. What was that?
My camera freezes. I can tell when my camera freezes if the shutter freezes.
All right, what do we got, Boone?
Last one here. Last one we'll do it. And then if you guys want to call out any other teams that you guys are interested in or anything, but the Buffalo Bills, they are plus 138. Plus one. No, hear me out. Plus 138 to not make the playoffs.
Oh.
So if you don't think they're going to make the playoffs, you can make some money. You can make some money.
I think I'm going to make some money, Boone. I'm at least try to. I can see a situation. They're going to be in the hunt for damn sure. They're going to be in the hunt. They're not going to be a 6-win ball club. But at the end of the day, I don't think they got it in them this year, Boone. I really don't. I think Josh Allen's going to have a year still, but I don't think it's enough to will them into the playoffs with how the AFC is. I'm sorry. I don't.
I think the Bills I don't hate the playoffs. I mean, that's like, what do you got to win? I mean, you probably, in the AFC, though, it's tough. I mean, you got to probably win 10 games.
No.
That's one that's one you're gonna be sitting there at the end of the year going, please win this game. They're gonna be like, they got to win a game in week 17 to make the playoff. It's gonna be something like that. I'm gonna go no, just because I'm a hater and I'm consistent with that. So I think the Bills have a down year. I'm gonna stay with that. I think they missed the playoffs. They probably win. They go 9-8, miss the playoffs. So I don't know, something like that.
That's tough.
I just simply said.
I've got one more here. I've got one more here. Last NFC North one. I just keep going back to Jordan Love. I'm dialed in. Jordan Love to score 5+ rushing touchdowns in the regular season, plus 300.
How many did he have last year?
He had 4 last year. It's at plus 300 for Jordan Love to get 5.
Josh Jacobs is gonna every time they're in the red zone, this is gonna be the Josh Jacobs show. So I'm gonna go under. I don't think he gets it.
Yeah, I agree with that. They signed him for a reason. Yeah.
And then they got AJ Dillon too.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Maybe. I guess
I don't think he'd have to run it in from like the 15 or something like that. And I don't think he does that 4 times this year.
He would need to do it 5.
Yeah, 5 times.
5
I'm gonna go
times.
under. I'm gonna go under on that.
That's the Booner's betting segment. I try to get as many as we can. We've done them all off season. We've done almost every Lions players prop, and I guess starting next week or whenever the guys or you guys want to and the people want to, we can kind of go back around and do them again.
We could do a college one too soon.
Yeah, we could do some college ones as well. Some Heisman winners. I have to actually, in my own brain, I have to go and do some more research for college and get dialed in for college, because I'm not. Usually, I take about a week or 2 to go do some research and lock in. So I need to make that move here on my end.
Well, we'll get to mailbag. So get your questions ready. We got about 12 minutes left of the show here, so we can answer as many. Can we time for? But what's up, Boone?
Can we show the people the picture here for the stream tonight?
Yes.
Put that out a little bit. I'm about to create the stream right now, so as we kind of transition to be able to get to the next stream, people are able just to click.
Yes. So for all those who were there last week to watch Coach Booner, he will be back today for episode 2. He's currently 1-1. He's fighting
Tulane Green Wave.
You can check it out. It's going to be live on our channel here right after our show. So chime in, support Boone. You know, we're figuring out some things. We're trying to make it the best quality, the best experience from a viewer's perspective. So again, if there's anything wrong tonight, we went pretty smooth last week. Had some lagging issues. We're gonna get them resolved so Coach Booner can be his best self.
The goal is to be alive for a couple hours and we can get through a couple, like 5-6 games, and we can go win a national championship. Coach Booner Campbell, Dan Campbell's long lost son. That's the goal. I had things like, I don't know how the internet and everything will work tonight. We're working on that. But everyone, we have Oklahoma here, game 1, number 11 on the road. I'm moving the difficulty up 1. We're going up 1. We lost to Oregon 40-0, and then we turned around and won a top 15 game at home. Can't remember who I played, but we won a top 15 game at home. So it's a tough schedule, man. We were going through a gauntlet, so everyone needs to tune in for that. I'm pumped.
Like it.
And then
mailbag though, everyone drop some questions.
So then what are the roles for Jeff? What's Jeff's role? What's Gentry's role? What's my role in this, Boone?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the boys.
Wide receivers coach. Jeff, I'm assuming you want to keep him far away from the offensive side of the ball as possible. I don't think that's the decision to go. Keep him on defense.
He's the pass game coordinator.
I've
already given out the role.
That's rolling the dice, Booner. That's rolling the dice.
No. You must not be familiar. You must not be familiar, Klotzy.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. We'll see.
Let me cook. We
had a great upset the other night over Gentry.
Yeah, we did.
Fresno State Bulldogs went into we were at home. Oklahoma State.
You know what I think you thrive at, Klotz? I think you thrive in identifying. I think we could honestly be like co-coordinators. I think we could both help Boone. I do. I think we each bring a different set of skills.
I will say this to either of you.
I'll say what's going on, and then you make the judgment play call off of it.
Yeah, it'd be like I don't know what's like a good like comparison. It's like when Michigan had 2 OCs. Remember, Michigan had Sharon Moore and the other guy.
It's like when Washington they had McVay and Shanahan on staff.
Yeah,
and they were just,
I'm gonna set the stage here too. If either of you guys start to get in my head, there will be firings in my coaching staff.
I'm offensive coordinator.
I am the OC. You right now, you guys are like GAs under me working.
I'm passing game coordinator. I'm passing game coordinator. I'm
the offensive coordinator of this team. You're not the head coach. I'm the OC. I run the offense.
I'm not. No. I'm not even close.
Klotzy's the quarterback coach. All right, I'm the passing game coordinator. So Klotzy's
okay.
going to be
I'm just warning you guys here. There could be firings here. I am the boss here.
I'm Jordan Palmer. I'm Jordan
There's too much. Hey, if I say, hey, Klotzy, hey, you're talking too much in the headset. Now, hey, you're getting in my head here. You gotta cut it out. I need you to stop talking in the headset, or I'm taking your headset away. I'm gonna get. Hey,
that's
Coach
fair.
Booner, Dan Campbell, we're grit. We're in this.
That's
Jeff,
fair. I'm just no damn GA. Who the hell are you calling a GA?
I will demote you if you keep talking to me like that. Dan Campbell doesn't let his staff do that.
Hey,
no,
he called you little bro. That's what you are.
Okay, let's do mailbag. There's a lot of questions in here. Let's get the people some questions.
You're giving Lukas a shot, an opportunity. He's just out there.
Yeah, and I'm giving him an opportunity
too.
It's like an internship.
He's this close to already being fired. This is unbelievable.
Wow.
No. See, this is crazy. This is crazy.
The road to 99, man, my guy. He says mailbag line starting 11-man defense. Well, let's do it together because I think we have similar. I mean, we're pretty similar, right? Corner position, corner spots. Carlton Davis, Terry Arnold, nickel. Yeah, well, that one.
I say just go Meek right now.
I would go a Meek. Defensive end, Aiden Hudson, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader,
Marcus Davenport by default.
Davenport, and then we'd go Anzalone, Jack Campbell.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brian Branch, Iffy.
I'm going Brian Branch and Kirby. Personally.
Okay. All right. I don't hate that.
But you'll still see a lot of Iffy.
Yeah, there will be some rotations. There'll be guys that play.
Yeah.
But is that 11? I didn't even count.
Yeah, that's 11.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. And we kind of agree on most of it. But yeah, there you go.
Hey, by the way, too, I meant to mention this earlier, and I wasn't able to get it out. I just remembered it. I would really like Broderick Martin as a breakout player on that top 5 list. That was going to be an honorable mention for me, was Broderick Martin. Because as crazy as it sounds for Broderick, you're like, well, you haven't shown anything from him. Similar situation to the Aleem McNeil thing, to where Aleem kind of went into that offseason a couple years ago. We knew his talent. We knew what his potential was. We knew what his ceiling could be. It was about getting in shape and going out there. And Broderick Martin went out and did that. And with DJ Reader out, he was taking first-team reps. And I know that's not much to look into. It's yeah, someone had to do it. But I do think the way Broderick's kind of came around this offseason, and that's typically what it is for guys in the NFL. It's like, hey, do you want to get in shape and do you want to take this serious? And if not, we all know everyone has the talent. It's about who takes it serious. And he's seemed to take it serious. And if he does, he's got everything to be able to go out there and be successful.
Would you say that Broderick has a higher ceiling than Aleem McNeil?
I would say yeah.
Now we're nervous. Oh, yeah. I would say yeah.
I'd say yeah. But it's tough to say because Aleem's also a little bit more athletic than I think Martin ever will be. But I think just based off the position they play, then I would say yeah.
At least
as a run stopper.
I'm just going for those who may not know. That was our argument yesterday, but the whole ceiling thing. I'm just saying, dude, your guys' definition: bigger, more potential, higher ceiling. Yeah, exactly. We'll get over that. We won't start the ceiling thing. Coach Walk, he says, mailbag. Why don't you guys go live on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok to grow your channel? We actually tried Rumble. A little tricky. I want to get that figured out because we do want to go live on both eventually. I think that'd be sweet if we can go live on YouTube and Rumble. Now, TikTok and Instagram, that's something I'm going to have to figure out on here
TikTok, we need to grow a little bit more. Instagram, we got to figure out how to link it.
Yeah, it would be like Instagram Live, basically.
Yeah.
At that point, but it's a good idea, Coach Walk. I mean, I don't hate it at all. As Instagram's continuing to grow too, it's a good thing. Sarah says, Mailbag, who's your favorite non-U of M or Michigan State local Michigan school? That's a good question.
Boone, you're muted.
Oh,
Saginaw
man.
Valley State University. Let's go. Now, I was saying there's a development going on over here right now. I've got about 75% charge on my laptop, and I just realized my charger is not working. It's broken. It's just not working. So whatever tonight the stream, I guess we're going until the laptop completely dies out. It's literally a Dan Campbell type of night. We are going until we are out of gas. Once the gas is out, we're done. I've never had this happen to me before. Like like it literally was just working before the show. My laptop was dead earlier today, and I came up here and grabbed my charger and plugged it in, and it charged it fully. And now all of a sudden, it's just not charging.
If you had you have a newer iPhone. Oh no, you still have the.
No.
Oh, never mind. See, they all take some of them take the same charging port.
It just randomly stopped working. So that's a development happening right now.
Oh.
It literally was just working before the show.
Gosh. Wes,
Hit a like for Boone, man. Hit a like for Boone.
I'll go Central. I like Central.
U of M or Michigan.
You would be a Central guy. I don't even know.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah, well, both my brothers went there, so they didn't finish school there.
No, just so you know.
Yeah, but they went there. Shout out to them, man. But they didn't finish. But hey, Central. I'll just go with that. Why not?
I'm not going to Michigan school. I'll stick with my UT Rockets, baby. 2 minutes down the road. Hey, Quinyon. First round pick.
You got my attention.
I thought.
Very,
very Hunt, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Lance Moore, a very fine Detroit Lions player for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Church.
They got some ballers out of Toledo.
By far the most NFL players at any MAC school. 419, baby.
They got to get out. I love it.
No, they got to stay. They got to stay. That's for sure. Get smacked around.
Yeah, it's fair. Well, we'll end it. Well, let's get this going. I want to get Boone. I want to make sure we can get some work in on with two.
Everyone, 97 people in the chat right now. Everyone, the stream. I could be wrong, but I think it might directly take you. It should directly take you to the stream. It should automatically do it. It should do it. If not, I'm gonna put the thing in the chat right now. At 10:05, I will be live and I'll be rolling, ready to roll. And we're going until my laptop dies. That's the plan.
All right, we'll do it. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Have a great rest of your night. Tune in to Coach Booner. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Stay blessed.